Can anybody hear me? What's up? What's up? What's up, YouTube fuckers? You guys fucking hear me or what? There's no comments on here yet, at least like while I'm saying this. Dude, oh, I just thumbed up on the comment. Dude, SP, can you fucking like, well, infinite, can we get an infinite screen going on here? In my glasses? How do we get infinite? Is that it? Do we have infinite? Oh, I think that's a fucking infinite dog stream. I'm trying to just like roll around this roller chair to see if I can get signal. Somebody's talking about informants and shit. Informants and U.S. Marshals. I don't even know what's going on. What are you guys talking about? Fuck, we gotta do this fucking stream in the truck. I'm so tired of streaming the fucking truck, man. I just want to sit in a regular ass chair. Apparently we're gonna have to. I don't have any activity on comments. It's just nothing. I see Instrom asking me if I had to take a quick dump. And then Double Plus is talking about U.S. Marshals and Border Patrol fucking each other, apparently, or something. I don't know what. Informing on each other. Nothing? Okay. Shit, man. Okay, here, let me try to get off the Wi-Fi. This shit is crazy. Or 10-minute openings of me like trying to figure out if I have a fucking signal. Nothing, no comments. I can't see shit, by the way. Okay, I got fucking comments. What's up? All right, I just disconnected the fucking Wi-Fi. Yo. All right, no, I'm good. We don't need. Where's my spitter can? There it is. How's everybody? So I just got off my little world government timeout they put me on. That's the fucking scene from the thumbnail in this video is the scene from Fight Club where the dude's in there like the dude's in there like there's some dude from like I'm guessing he's a Texan or something and he's like high efficiency is our primary priority here and the boss is like he's like can I get cornflower blue and then he's like absolutely. Yeah, bloody teeth part. Yeah, it's great. It's so great. It reminds me of a lot of shit. It reminds me of the army. That scene, personally. And then the guys and he's like, I was telling my man. He's like, I was telling my man over here about that. And then he like looks over and he's got like the fucking button-up collar and shit. And then it's like the Norton guy looks at him. He's like, with like fucking blood. His like teeth are all knocked out. Or I don't think he's missing teeth. It'd be better if he was missing teeth. That's like when you're really hardcore. That's like a one-way street. When you go into like missing teeth and shit, like especially like front teeth, that's like, you know that whoever that is doesn't give a fuck anymore. Yeah, you've never seen Fight Club, Fisher? It's kind of it's a funny thing because it's made by Fight Club. Who's Fight Club? Is that the Matrix people? The people that did the Matrix? Can't even pronounce their name. Yeah, 5.7's expensive as fuck nowadays, isn't it? Oh, is it? Oh, okay. Yeah, it was a pretty cool movie. As if it was only that simple. As if it was only. Oh, it is Wachowski brothers. Is it Wachowski brothers? Oh, Wachowski the Matrix. Oh, weight set? Yeah, okay. So I'm like really behind on weights. So pretty much, so my garage gets like 95 degrees right now. So I'm not fucking lifting much of shit. I need to insulate this motherfucker. But I've had some things get in the way for a couple of years. I haven't lifted regularly for probably like 2 years. But I used to lift all. I mean, normally I lift all the time. But that's like a Rogue set. Rogue sets kind of they're fucking expensive first of all, and I got it when I was like rolling in the fuck money. Bought that thing like it was no thing, like I was ordering a taco. The Rogue sets are expensive as fuck. So what the Rogue set is? It's a fucking you get a fucking 3x3, right? And then you just fucking drill the motherfucker. And it's actually like this one's a cage, which is okay because you get the fucking pull up bar. Pull ups are important. So like if you're gonna do shit, do some pull ups. Do weighted pull ups. The thing is though, right? Like for squat, which is mostly what you should be doing. You really don't need a fucking you don't need that shit. You don't need that shit. You need fucking free stands that you can move around. So you get a 5-3 free stand with collars on the top to catch your bar, and then you just pick that motherfucker off, and then you dive bomb in your squat. Because once you do that, you're gonna do or die. Like you're not like it's gonna push you. It's gonna push you to like when you don't have a safety and you know that you don't. You're just gonna go like all the way ash to the grass. It's gonna make you it's gonna at least to me I don't know maybe that's not a good idea for somebody starting if you're starting out it might be too much, it might be too intimidating. It's not though. If you can mentally get over the psych out aspect of it, it's probably the best because you're just like sailing into the fucking horizon every time you squat. I've never been super crazy on squat. I get up to like the equivalent of like 405. It like in the like in a tradition like on a high bar, low squat. I do like 405 at my max. That'd be like a max, right? That's like a single rep. I'm not like knocking out like sets of 10 at 405. Yeah, and I prefer. So I do a lot of like overhead squat too because it helps you with your depth and stuff. Like you can really get in the bottom position. No, I've always been really prude, to be honest. When I was in Germany, the guys used to go to whorehouses all the time because like if you didn't know this, in Germany prostitution is legal. And at some point, I think the army came out with a ban on it at some point, like a informal ban, like you can't do the prostitution. But like nobody ever fucking paid attention to that shit. They've been going to the German prostitutes since fucking World War II. So like the guys used to always get drunk and go to the whorehouses and stuff, and then I would be like tagging along. So I would be sitting in the whorehouse lobbies, and I would just like try to talk to the prostitutes and be like, so what, like what do you think you want to do after this? Like where you want to, where you gonna go with your life? Like you got any plans or anything? You gonna like what kind of stuff do you like? I'd be like out there in the lobby talking to them and shit. So I've never been really been like an ass smasher or anything like that, or whatever you call it, whatever you said. I've had very few partners. I'm not going to talk anymore about that. It's kind of gross. I don't like talking about sex stuff. It's gross. I like to make children, procreate, make children. It's the only thing that really matters. Anyway. Yeah, it's extreme. Yeah, prostitution is very sad. It's extremely sad. I feel very like, it's the same way. It's the same thing with porn. Like, I get it. I understand why people do it and stuff. But if it wasn't for the chains of money, then prostitution would be a lot less common. So it's a money issue, first of all. And then there are people that are just really sexually active or whatever, sexually stimulated and stuff. But that stuff's like, it's kind of there to, it exists to keep in check. You know what I mean? Like, you need to have some mental discipline in some areas, right? Like, I say mental discipline, I'm sitting here like dipping. You know, it's like my vice. I basically take like all my vice and put it into a dip, and that's about it. Which I need to quit. I will quit at some point. The dip's tough because I got fucking MS. So I get sleepy as fuck, and if I didn't dip, I would fall asleep during the day. Like, throughout the day, I'd be like sometimes I get so tired with MS fatigue that I'll be like out in public and I'll feel like laying down on the floor. Like, you'd be like out in public at like a grocery store or something, picking up some shit, and I'll look at the tile, but man, the tile's so cool to my face. I could lay down on it, just sleep on the floor. Guys, fucking buckshot. Stop that. I don't know what people always make cuckold comments. I don't understand. People used to do that shit on Carnicon too. Fucking weirdos. You guys are disgusting. Yeah, sleeping is really important. That's, you know what, sleeping and nutrition are probably bigger on exercise than any other of the equation. Like, if you're not sleeping, you want to sleep a minimum. If you're doing a regular training program where you're actually trying to gain strength, I'm talking about strength, right? Like, if you're lifting for physique or something like that, it's completely. I mean, I don't even know anything about that. It's not even like, there's no metric. What are you gonna like? Look at yourself in the mirror and be like, yeah, that looks great. That's my metric. Like, there's no metric. Weight is your only metric. Strength is your only metric. How fast or how heavy you're lifting something. It's the only way that you can pull a metric to get better. When you do that shit, you're I don't know. I don't even know where I was going with that. What are we talking about anyway? What are we talking about tonight? We should talk about. So I did think about. Yeah, yeah. Oh, it's sleep, sleep, sleep. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's right. That's important. Yeah, because if I didn't say that, if I didn't round back, then that entire statement would be pointless. So you want to live for your metric. Your benchmark wants to be. You want it to be strength. You want it to be a quantifiable metric. And then the biggest factor, in my opinion, is sleep. Like, you need to be sleeping 8 hours minimum. If you can sleep, if you're not working or something, or if you work part time, it's fucking perfect, because then you can sleep like 12 hours. You need to be sleeping 12 fucking hours a day while you're doing a heavy fucking lifting program. You need to be sleeping like a fucking bear. It's the only way you'll gain so much more strength and mass if you're sleeping a lot. And don't drink either. If you're lifting, don't drink. Like, maybe you could have a beer with a dinner or something like that. That's about it. You don't want to be, because if you drink, it's actually because it puts you in a depressive state, but it actually stimulates like parts of your mind and stuff while you're sleeping. You don't want to do that. You want to have a fucking clear mind when you go to sleep. Yeah, long sleep. DHS is snatching Antifa and unmarked vans. Are you serious? I'd be surprised. I'm gonna tell you what. I would be surprised if they were snatching Antifa. I'd be fucking surprised if DHS was going after Antifa. Because here's the deal, right? Here's the deal. Antifa is a byproduct, little science project of the super state, and that's who fucking all your exec agencies work for. They have the same boss. Now, exec independence agencies, they go through Congress first. They have an intermediary of Congress. Besides that, they have the same boss. I would be really surprised if they were legitimately picking up Antifa out on the street. If they are picking them up, it's probably a MSM op. They're probably taking them to go get some fucking Twinkies or something, you know? Or it could be this. Eventually they will go after them, right? But it's way too early. Eventually they'll fucking kill them, eventually. But there's not enough impetus in society to do that yet. They won't start schwacking the disruptors until it becomes like societally acceptable to murder people. When you get to that point, that's when the government will actually start snatching them up. When that happens, you better be fucking careful, because after that, it goes buck wild, and they'll start coming after regular ass people. It'll start off with the controlled opposition that's out of control, the ones that the society wants to support. So how everybody right now wouldn't give a shit about Antifa anyway, obviously. But it's not at the point where you can publicly say there's not senators or the general public, like nothing's happened. If Antifa, let's say this, if Antifa killed a bunch of civilians in the United States and then had the track record then of being a dangerous threat to US citizens, then you could have a little short processing phase, and then the government be like, yep, it's okay to fucking go hot on these guys. Then you start seeing shit like that, right? Yeah, I know, my fucking streaming sucks, you know? They're fucking with it. They're making, like, I'm getting throttled here. Okay. Well, let's do this. We got a question about Rosenberg. We got a question about Sandy Strait event. So let's talk about this. Let's do a pet peeve, right? So one thing I don't like, I really don't like the dual standards and shit, and Marxist control of language, like the Marxist employment of the control of language. I don't like it, right? So that goes into a lot of different facets. Sorry, many assets. It goes into lots of different facets about how that works, but you got to look at it unilaterally. So people shouldn't try to control language. And the people that attempt to control language, that's an emulation of the control paradigm of how they control us, and then they're taking it and employing it for their own purposes or whatever. Society automatically does it because we're trained to. You know what I mean? The biggest ones are the word gay, which is the reason that my stream got pulled and my account got locked for a week is because I put in the title that evil is gay, like Ghey, which isn't even gay, Gay. I have a huge problem with this. Number one, because in the United States we have freedom of speech. The YouTube is tied in with Google, and they get funded by the fucking government. So they're not a private entity. So you can fuck off with they're a private business. They can do whatever they want. And if they are a private business, if they're as big as they are, they should be fucking heeding the Constitution and fucking promoting that shit like a cheerleader. They are trying to burn down the Constitution. They're fucking enemies of the United States. This little YouTube thing right here. The fucking enemy of the United States. It absolutely is. Google and YouTube and Amazon and eBay and fucking PayPal and fucking banks are the enemies of the United States. Period. They're fucking bad. They're bad news. And as long as they're here, you will not be free. You'll just continue going down the wrong path. I'm telling you. I'm not going to get into that more. I'm just saying that they're bad. Microsoft's fucking bad. They're all bad. It's all bad. All corporatism in general is bad. Now, the word gay, first of all, it doesn't originate in being homosexual, right? So the reason that they're blocking the fucking streams and shutting me down, putting me in timeout, is because of the association to homosexuality with the term. So number one, if you're homosexual, that's the word homosexual. The word gay isn't even used that way anymore. It can be. It's not even when somebody says that's gay, they don't mean that's homosexual. I mean, sometimes they do. If the thing going on is reminiscent of homosexuality, then it will be. But it doesn't fucking mean that. Second of all, it doesn't. The actual word gay doesn't mean homosexuality, right? And so it's just a very silly little control scheme there on language. The other thing that's like that is the word retard. So people get really offended when people use the word retard, and you shouldn't. Even if you have if you have a mentally disabled child or something like that, you shouldn't be upset at something that uses the word. The word retard means to means to block something, right? Like retard means to block, to be blocked. It's about the best way to describe the people in the United States because they're completely blocked by being inundated by controlled stimulation in everything that they buy. They're economically and perceptually stimulated, overstimulated into inundations so that they can't perceive reality or deduce threats or defend themselves, like identify things that they need to be defending themselves from, and they direct their defenses to exactly what the crown wants them to defend, which basically means you're going to go attack. The crown tells you who to go attack and you go do it. You don't have any control over it, right? You jump when you say, when they say jump, you say how high. The word retard means to stop. It doesn't mean a mentally challenged person. It is used, it's much in the same way as gay is used. It's used in the same way with crossover between those. But it doesn't fucking mean that, so you shouldn't get fucking offended about it. Now, if you're out there disparaging mentally handicapped people, then that's a different story. Like you're, you may want to take a time out yourself and think about that, But that's not what the word retard is, and being called retard is probably the best thing that can happen to you retards. That was first of all. Now we want to talk about, Bogner is just doing like a play-by-play here. It's great. He's like my fucking sports commentator on this thing. So the making fun of retards is gay. That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we're gonna get to Rosenberg. So we're doing Sandy Strait first, right? So on Sandy Strait, on Sandy Strait, so I put a theory up in the other channel. If you guys want to go to the other channel, it's Booger Mooger. If you can get it up to 1,000 subscribers, then I can stream on that one when this account's locked. All right, but it's got to be 1,000. They won't let me stream unless it's 1,000. Fucking flies just landing on my face. There are too many flies in here. I need to close up all the bug entry points too. It's called Booger Mooger. I don't even remember what the fake. I set up like a fake email temporarily to do it. Booger Mooger, like the Moog, like the keyboard Moog, M-O-O-G, Booger Mooger. B-O-O-G-E-R, M-O-O-G-E-R, all lowercase. 2 words. There's like a little entry on there. So don't get off topic, Michael Thunder. So the Sandy Strait. So here's my theory on mass shootings. Okay, I want to tell you what I saw first. We're talking about Sandy Strait. That's what the topic is. Then we're going into whatever the other one was. I can't remember. Then we're going into not Maxwell. What the fuck was it? I gotta go back. I gotta find what we're supposed to talk about. Rosenberg. We're doing Sandy Strait, and then we're doing Rosenberg. All right, here we go. Sandy. All right, here's the deal. Here's the deal on mass shootings. Now, Sandy is the epitome of the mass shooting situation. So you do have some stuff going on with like Sandy is post Smith months getting reactivated, which is the domestic propaganda legislation that got released in 2012. At the end of the year, then you get Sandy, it kicks off, right? All right, now, and then right before that, you have Michael Brown, right? So that was kind of Michael Brown was the beginning of like all this like both like the police shooting stuff. Besides Martin, Trayvon Martin, right? With a white Hispanic American. Shot the guy. So, all right. So for the mass shootings, there's some really weird shit that happened with Sandy Hook. All right. Very strange stuff. Now, there's a lot of theories on Sandy Hook that are conspiratorial. And there's good reason for them to be there because everything's so fishy and fucked up. Now, the primary driver of conspiracy with mass shootings, but particularly with Sandy Hook, the primary driver is that obviously to anyone at all that's watching that watched the event take place in 2012 in the media aftermath, it was extremely apparent that all hands went on deck to redirect what was going on into a attempt to take away guns. So that much was abundantly clear and undeniable. And there's not really any way to spin that. That's what happened exactly. And so because of that, it makes it easy to, it's very easy and not far off to go into various conspiracy theories to explain it. Now, there were other things that happened, such as I can remember distinctly hearing on the news during broadcasts about Sandy Hook. At the time it was going on within that week, hearing about how Adam Lanza's mom worked at the school and things like that. Now that stuff, like there was a lot of misinformation that was propagated by the MSM. It's extremely careless. So one of them being that his mom didn't have anything to do with the school. In fact, there's pretty much not a whole lot of people that know the Lanza family at all, which makes it even more suspicious, right? Now I have talked to people who have told me that, I have talked to people that have known victims from Sandy Hook, people that died, like that are related to them. But I don't know them well. So I give them the benefit of the doubt and say this is a real person. This isn't some kind of alien, fucking conspiracy theory that they're a part of, right? I think, but I don't know. I'm not gonna say anything. The way that I analyze this stuff is you have to use logic. You have to use logic. You can't draw a bridge on thin air that doesn't have any kind of pillars on it on either end, and then connect the motherfuckers and say, "Yep, there we go." If you're not there, if you didn't see it, then you don't know. I've talked to people that claim that they know that they have family members and stuff that have died at Sandy Hook. And so I don't say that proves it. I say that has some level of credibility, possibly. But I don't even fucking accept that, right? Because I wasn't there and I am not in that family, so I don't know. If it was my family, then I would accept it, right? But shit's fucked up. So shit's fucked up. There's fishy shit going on. Now, I hate the term what we know about Sandy Hook. I despise that shit. They do that in the news all the time. Okay, in the mass shootings, particularly in Sandy Hook, super weird shit going on. All of them have really suspicious things. Vegas, Sandy Hook, whatever. Now, on Sandy Hook, there is some way it's difficult to imagine that there's not some kind of link between the shooters somehow. And what I mean by link is I don't mean that they know each other. What I mean is how it just doesn't seem very natural that people are just coming out of woodwork, going on like mass shootings, just indiscriminately killing people. It seems like there's some kind of ideological or something else going on there, but I don't fucking know, so I'm not gonna say, right? People speculate all kinds of shit from MK Ultra all the way up to that it's esoteric, like religious shit, you know, or esoteric cult shit, right? People all kinds of theories. They may be true, they may be not true. I wouldn't fucking know because I don't know the fucking deal, right? So I skip that. There is some way that the mass shooters apparently seem to be very suspiciously driven to conduct mass shootings. It's very suspicious because it's so unusual. It's so weird. And especially the frequency post 9/11 is very weird, right? They've had fucking semi-automatic weapons for a long time. The mass shooting incident and coverage by the incidents and the coverage by media and its frequency has increased hand in hand, right? So it's suspicious. It's very suspicious. Now, however the shooters get there, whatever's bringing them there, they go there, and then let's just assume we're assuming for parsing, we're not going to tackle anything about did the shootings happen, are they real people, is this a CIA op, all this stuff. We're not going to deal with any of that because I don't know. If you're in the fucking CIA and you want to like purge and release some fucking documents that get you killed about how you helped do Sandy Hook or a mass shooting, and you're willing to like die for it or whatever and put it out in the public sphere, well, shame on you because you should have fucking done it a long time ago, you turd. But if I'm not saying that's what it is. I don't know. So unless you're going to do that, then like there's nothing I can't talk about that. So what I have to operate on the assumption of is that the motherfuckers are real, right? I have to operate on the assumption. I have to make the assumption that the mass shootings are real. The reason being because it's most useful for examining it, because society is affected by it and has to react to it both governmentally and socially. And so it makes no sense to even do any kind of analysis or attempt to more deeply understand the phenomenon by making an assumption that it's like not real or something, right? So we're going to operate on the assumption that the mass shootings are real. It's 100% real. That's just what we're doing. We're keeping it simple here, right? Okay. So Sandy Hook in particular, weird shit. Now, within a day and a half after Sandy Hook happened, a bunch of people got phone calls from a few different numbers, multiple numbers, with recordings, voice recordings of people saying, "I'm Adam Lanza. I'm going to kill you. I'm Adam Lanza. You're fucking dead. I'm coming to get you." All this shit, right? And they're audio recordings. The reason that you know that they're audio, well, first of all, the way that this is known is because it's in the FBI report from Sandy Hook, right? The people that got called, that got recordings, the way that you know that it's a recording is because you have the telemarketer click, which is notorious, right? When you're doing a recording, especially in 2012 or whatever, where you can hear what you're hearing is you're hearing a phase shift in the audio recording from somebody that's not a skilled audio engineer. And so they get a phase shift from when they're doing recording, and then it shows up like a click to your ear when you're listening to it, especially when you listen to it through a phone transmission, because the phone is basically like it's like a high frequency curve filter for audio. So it like cuts out a lot of the bandwidth, and then you're left with your high frequency stuff becomes more noticeable. And so like you got clicks in there that people notice. Well, that's a recording. So you get recorded audio transmission saying, "I'm Adam Lanza, I'm going to kill you." Within a day and a half of the shootings, at least the people that the FBI interviewed, which are numerous. Now, a lot of it's redacted, so you don't know the names of the people, and but you can identify in certain respects what the approximate relationship of the person is to the Lanza family. A lot of people that they're interviewing are like neighbors of Adam Lanza. So you're talking like in the approximate neighborhood and shit, or people at the school, or people at Lanza's like family associates, like people that they socially deal with, like friends of his mom's friends and things like that, right? These are the people that are getting interviewed. They're, it's kind of interesting that somebody would be able to send them all the I'm Adam Lanza, I'm going to kill you recorded phone call, because how is somebody going to know? Like they're not just the people that they're interviewing in the FBI documents are not, they're not, it's not simply people from the neighborhood, right? It's not like just like the whole block got the phone calls. A lot of them did. It's other people that are related in other domains that aren't, it's not just like physical proximity that got phone calls, right? So I'm not answering questions, I'm talking about this shit. So I don't know whose voice it is, because now the FBI does have a recording of it, like they do, because people had it on voicemail. So the FBI has a recording of it. I've only read the paper docs. I'm not going to get way into Sandy Hook, because it's not, although it's extremely suspicious and there's a lot there, I have better shit to do with my time. I just can't do it. I mean, it would be a good use of time if I could find some truth out of it, but I don't have it. I don't have the time. I can't do it. So I've done a preliminary look, and that's about it. Now, there are significant things about it, which we're getting to. So in this Sandy Hook situation, you have people that are being sent the audio recordings. We don't know. I don't know if actually Adam Lanza. They're after the fact, right? So if we're going on the public narrative, Adam Lanza should have committed suicide now. So it's obviously not Adam Lanza. So it's like according to the public narrative. So now we're into recordings for sure. People are clicking, so it's a fucking recording, right? Now the people, because of the variation in how they're related to Adam Lanza, and it's not linear, like I was saying, not people in physical proximity like neighbors or just people at work or whatever. It's a lot of people, right? There's probably people that got phone calls that the FBI doesn't know about, right? That they didn't interview because they just missed it or whatever. They never thought. They're like, we're not going to interview that person. There's probably people that got recorded phone calls that aren't even on the motherfucker, right? Now, on the FBI docs, I'm saying. Now, it's significant. It's significant that would happen. Now, the other things that happen, you saw so I showed you that in the previous video, what's wrong with this AR? We pretty much established that AR is, there's some serious issues with it, right? Now, it's not a lighting issue. It's not a fucking artifacting issue from transferring the image over online. We're talking about geometry issues where the physical gun that the dude's holding isn't a fucking AR-15. It looks like an AR-15. It's pieced together, right, digitally. It's a computer generated image. It's very good. It's good, relatively. It has problems. They're not. You can't surmount them. They're not. You could come on here and say like, oh, it's the lighting and this and blah blah blah, and the bad picture and blah. Like you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. I can look at the image. I know exactly what I'm saying. You're wrong. You just don't know ARs enough. You're not. Like if you could see the AR image in your head well enough, you would know how absurd it is, your claim. It's not lighting. It's the motherfucker isn't there. Okay? At least not like how it looks. Now, what does that mean? This is where shit gets important, right? Yep. No, it's not fucking normal Spartan. Look fucking closer. So, okay. What does that mean? What's the issue? Now, the problem with it is, let's say that you almost have to have like a whiteboard timeline here to spread everything out and check it out and look, right? So here's the thing, right? That could mean, what would it mean? It could mean that Adam Lanza is in the picture. Adam Lanza is real into the mass shooting. And he never held an AR-15. And so an AR-15 had to be generated in his hand, so he's holding an AR-15, right? It could mean that Adam Lanza doesn't exist at all, and neither does the AR-15, and he's never been a real person, so the identity was completely generated. It could mean that he had another gun in his hand, but because they wanted to go after AR-15s, they put an AR-15 in his hand. It could mean that Adam Lanza. What else could it mean? Help me out here. Could have been a different gun. Could have been. I'm waiting to see if anybody else thinks of an angle that I haven't thought of here, of like a plausible reason, right? Yeah, there's probably dark. There's fucking problems with it for sure. We don't need to argue about. We don't need to discuss how there's. We don't need to defend the fact that it's not AR. It's not a fucking AR. It's not a fucking AR. The dimensions, the physical dimensions, the ratios of space between the top and the bottom of the receiver and shit are incorrect. It's not. It's too small. The trigger well, the distance from the distance from the trigger well floor to the trigger guard are too short. It's not a fucking AR. It doesn't exist. It's not perspective. It's not fucking perspective. Nope. It's fucked up. The fucking charging handle looks like it's a different angle. It's melted into it. All right. Well, I'm not gonna argue with you. I look at it fucking 100 times. I'm telling you. All right. So anyway, we're not arguing about that. So now, here's something, right? Here's something. What if the mass shooting is all real? Everything's real, and somebody wants you guys to think that it's not real. Have you guys consider that? What if Adam Lanza took a picture of himself with an AR-15 before he went on a mass shooting? And he really went on a mass shooting, really killed a bunch of kids, and then he, died, right? Suicide, and then, you had this big gun control scare. Now this photo got released through Reddit. The way that it got released is through a FOIA. Somebody filed a FOIA, Freedom of Information request. That's not the person who did it on Reddit, purportedly, according to Reddit. Somebody said that they knew the person that released it on Reddit, and then they released it on Reddit, right? They even fucking watermarked. You know how much of a fucking idiot you have to be to watermark a fucking mass shooter photo and put it out there like, oh, here's my photo that I got. Ridiculous. Anyway, the person who released that could have doctored the photo. They could have doctored it before they released it, and then the FBI just doesn't even give a fuck. They're not even nobody gives a fuck, and they're not gonna. Now here's the thing, right? It's so well done though. It's so well done that it's almost, if they were going to release it for the purpose of making somebody catch it, they didn't really go far enough. But maybe they made a mistake. Maybe they were too subtle, and so it's just been out there for a year, and people didn't notice it yet. Right? Now, here's the thing. If you go with the theory that there are people out there that are trying to create the narrative of conspiracy, it starts to make sense why you're getting phone calls to people saying, I'm Adam Lanza, I'm going to kill you. Right? It starts to make sense why somebody would adjust an image. Right? Like, he could be standing there with an AR, and then he just fucking cropped and fucking used Photoshop and cropping and did some subtle clone tool and shit, and then it's just gonna look fucked up with artifacts, right? And they could just release it, right? And then what's gonna happen when they do that? Everyone's gonna be arguing about if the fucking thing is real or not, right? What happens when you do phone calls to a bunch of people afterwards with an automated phone call from numbers that have no significance in terms of tracing and shit, and the police trace it and there's just like nothing they can do with it. If you do that, and that goes into FBI docs and shit, and the people that got the phone calls, they're talking to their neighbors and shit, and then word gets around, what happens for then, right? Things start to get fishy, right? It starts to look like you're like, well, this isn't normal. This isn't regular shit. This isn't, there's something else going on here, right? You get what I'm saying? Now, what happens when you get an element of society that thinks that something is suspicious, and then you get the government telling you over and over again, nothing is suspicious. Nothing is suspicious, you're crazy. And then you have people, what if you're the friend of Adam Lanza or whatever that got the phone call saying like, I'm Adam Lanza, I'm going to kill you, and then got interviewed by the FBI and shit, and then the government was telling you that everything was normal about the mass shooting, even though you had some weird shit going on. Like, what does that do to your perspective of society and the government? You're looking at it like you're looking at it like distrust, right? So you're not going to trust anything, right? And the people that are arguing about it online, they're not going to trust each other. So the people that are towing the line with the government and are going for mass shootings is 100% authentic, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's completely real. People that think that there's a conspiracy in this stuff are insane, and they're a danger to society. Then you have the people that are, it's mostly like people that are already suspicious of the government, that have suspicions with mass shootings. They're looking at it from their perspective. They're like, these people that think that this shit is real are fucking sheep, and they're dangerous sheep because they're voting and they're fucking dragging our country down, right? And they just fall in line. They do whatever the government says, which is all true, right? But they look at it like a division, right? It creates. They don't look at it like a division. They look at it like these people are idiots and they can't see what's going on. What is actually going on between the two? It's division that got created, right? Now, how did it get introduced? It got introduced by all of the little fucking Easter eggs that get dumped off in these mass shootings everywhere, right? Like all over the place. There's fucking Easter eggs in every fucking mass shooting, right? They're dumping them off. Now, here's the thing, right? Let's say that you are some kind of fucked up, you're doing some kind of psyop with the mass shootings in the United States. There's a couple ways that you could do it. One of them would be like the hi-ho diddle diddle up the middle wet team, like CIA wet team style, where you're just like going in there doing a mass shooting and then dumping a body in there. You're like, that's the mass shooter. Okay, let's get the fuck out of here. And then you're like, okay, let the MSM know, let's roll. And the MSM goes and films everything, right? That would be like one scenario that you can imagine in your head, right? Of how a mass shooting could be gamed. That's like the most direct way. You just fucking go in there and kill everybody and just make it look like you just generate the mass shooting. That's one way, right? There's a lot of problems with that because you're operating in the public, and you could really fuck that shit up. Like that is ultra high risk, and you can't control it. It wouldn't matter if you had it wouldn't matter if you had like 20 guys with fucking saws with thermals on them and shit, with just 300 blackout saws with thermals and fucking suppressors in black tinted vans doing a cordon around the entire fucking building or whatever. That shit is fucking high risk. It doesn't matter how much force you have or planning or anything. Murphy's Law is out there, so you're liable to get somebody like die trying to do it, and now you got a dead body that you can't account for, right? You got all the shit that you can't. I mean, there's just so many things. There's so many things that could go wrong with that model. It's not possible. It's not fucking possible at all, right? So that's not the case. That's not the case. Now, yeah, it's uncontrollable, right? It's uncontrollable. Now it is possible. You can do it. You can pull it off once, right? You can pull it off once. You couldn't pull it off like multiple times. It's just not possible. I mean, fuck. You're gonna have problems with the police. The police are gonna come there. They're gonna fucking engage you if they see you, and they're gonna engage you. I mean, you can pull out like your State Department go home free, get a jail free card or whatever. What if the fucking cop doesn't care about that? What if the cop's like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You're in Podunk County, and now you're going to my county jail. You're getting raped. You know, like you have a lot of fucking problems that can come up. I gotta get a dip. Hang on. Other scenarios, right? Crisis actors, right? Like something like all the same victims are fake, the perps are fake, it's all fake, right? Could be. I don't know. There's no reason for me to suspect it because it's so weird. It's so weird. You know, you just can't accept it as a possibility without some kind of fucking like direct fucking evidence. You can't accept it. So I'm not going to accept that, right? What if you let a mass shooting happen, regardless of how it happens, right? What if you can cause a mass shooting to happen, possibly by having like hundreds of people in play all the time, and maybe like 1% of them are like they actually end up doing a mass shooting. Like I'm talking like stressing people or like psychologically playing with people until they just start doing a mass shooting. You work on like 100 people at a time, and then you get like one person goes and does it, actually pulls it off, right? And they don't have any idea. Now the mass shooting has occurred. Now you're just taking data, like digital information that's processed by the people that are supposed to be there, i.e. the FBI or whatever, and you already have all of your contacts because you've been like watching the person and like studying them and shit with a team the entire time they got pushed into a mass shooting. So you know all their neighbors, you know everybody, right? Now you release some fucking phone call recordings afterwards from some burner lines that aren't going to go anywhere, right? When they get traced, right? They're going to go to the fucking, the police are going to have to trace it to the telecommunications company, and the telecommunications company's going to be like, you know, right? And they're not going to be able to do shit. So the phones aren't going to go anywhere. So like, what if you do that, right? That's going to result in some confusion in society. Like you do that enough, you're going to create a divide in society, right? Right? Like that's what's going to happen. What's the risk involved in that? It's pretty much zero. Like it's probably like the most safe possible scenario that could explain this shit. The most foolproof fucking possible scenario is to just fucking seed confusion and discontent between the society, right? See what I'm saying? It has the highest probability of success also, right? Now here's a question: what about this Antifa shit? Since we were talking about Antifa earlier, what about Antifa and stuff like that? What do you think the goal? What is the not the goal? What is the effect that you see with Antifa? What do you see? You see a bunch of people in the government like, let them peacefully protest. And then you see people in the government that are like, they're bad, right? And then you see the same element being repeated in society. Like that element that gets created gets fucking drawn down through society lines, and you get two divisions, right? Then what happens? Everybody's fucking divided. And what's happening right now? The division is widening to the point of you guys fucking killing each other, right? It's the same MO. You get what I'm saying? So what's going on in the fucking every destabilization op is the exact same thing, which is creating a fucking division so that you guys don't trust each other, and you're like, those people are fucking crazy. Those people that think that this fucking shootings are on the up and up, they're fucking nuts. This shit is clearly fucked up, right? There's fucked up shit going on, right? Well, that makes you go like, well, the people that think that's 100% and then are calling me crazy, they're fucking crazy and dangerous because they don't understand what's going on, right? It's the same on the opposite perspective. So for the people that are like 100% on board with government programming, they're looking at you and they're going, these people are fucking off the fucking reservation and they're fucking dangerous, you know? Like we need to take care of them, right? What is the solution that you're both coming up with? You both want to take care of each other, right? You're both, I mean kill each other is what I'm saying, if that's not clear. To fight, to fight. They want you to kill each other, right? Well, that's kind of like the fucking MO of world government. So, like, to me, it's it's like the most credible fucking solution to this mass shooting situation, right? Is that these mass shootings are happening, and then they're doing everything that they can to, like, the innocent narrative of them taking away your guns, how there's like a couple of senators that will sponsor bills and introduce them right away. The way we view it as the public, like gun people, we view it like, oh, they're coming after our guns. They were going to do this the whole time. Like, this is all the plan. It's just like, it's a fake fucking, nobody died at Sandy Hook, like all this shit, right? This kind of line of thinking. The goal of it, what if the goal wasn't actually to get rid of your guns at all? What if they needed your guns so that you can fucking kill people in the United States, right? Like during a civil war. Maybe they need some guns, right? Because if you don't have guns, they got to bring in the fucking guns from somewhere else, right? You've already got all the guns here. They don't need to bring any guns in from anywhere else. They don't need to do Libya here. You've got all the guns already, right? All they have to do is make you fucking mad enough at each other where you kill each other, right? Now, you all come from a background where you all came from pretty much the same place, other than the immigrants that have been brought in over time, where they change like immigration ways. But everybody's an immigrant in the United States, right? First you had the British, then you had the German, right? And it came in waves. You see what I'm saying? So they're creating division so that you guys kill each other. Right? Except fucking, you don't even have to call them natives. Natives aren't natives, they're just Americans. Right? Yeah, Irish, German, yeah. I mean, like, I'm saying, you also have like French, part of British, right? So you have French, British, German, right? But the biggest ways were your Brits, your English. Your English and your German are the biggest ones, right? Right. So the entire point of all this shit, regardless of what's going on, they're trying to fucking divide guys and get you to kill each other. Right? I'm gonna have to move to the car. I'm too hot. I don't have any AC in this bitch. I'm fucking sweating. All right. Hang on. I'll be right back. Then we'll go on to Rosenberg next. All right, we're fucking going into the vehicle. We're getting AC. Yeah, they're dividing and conquering hardcore. Hard fucking core. Alright. I got some fucking AC going. Okay. Okay. Now. Now, I wanted to talk next. I want to talk about Rosenberg. Now, who wanted to talk about Rosenberg? And what did you want to talk about? They said in the initial statement, so if you're not familiar with this, Susan Rosenberg has been running, like, it's a Jew. Obviously, it's a Jewish woman. And she's been running, like, Black Liberation Army in the 70s, and then she's doing BLM now. She's doing BLM through Thousand Currents Foundation, which is a large foundation that's getting money from a bunch of other foundations and nonprofits, and then redirecting it into BLM. It caused big problems, especially early on in BLM, because people that are in BLM that get involved with it because they hear about it, I'm talking like black nationalists and shit, or people, or just black people that are sick of, you know, like fucking mistreatment of black people by like the system of society, which is predatory on black people, right? Like I'm talking about, but it's the financial system. It's not like the government. It's the government placates to race, right? It's the financial system is what's brutal, right? And it's just like if you will allow yourself to be put into a box, it's fucking happy to put you in there, right? And it does that to black people in the United States, right? That's the fucking forces, which is very sad and ironic, because like the artificial control paradigm that is pervade to black society through like the music industry, which black people don't control. Like black people are not in control of the music industry. Jews are, okay? If you didn't know that. So the image of like in rap music, right? Now I'm not talking about I enjoy some rap, right? Like I really like Lude Foe. You know who Lude Foe is? He's like a fucking Detroit rapper that's super fucking raw. If you want to know, if you like his shit is fucking raw as fuck. But it's authentic, right? It's like him, right? It's him. So like don't get me wrong. Like I'm not anti-rap. I'm not anti any type of music, right? I don't like the destructive culture that's pervaded by economics through controlled industry, where they say, hey, if you want a fucking deal, you have to fucking talk about this. And they basically say you have to talk about like murder and drugs, and you have to like mistreat your women, right? Like that's what they pervade, and they force it on black society. They fucking propagate it, right? Beyond what it would naturally manifest itself if they weren't doing so. And this is like obvious, right? You know, by the explosion of fucking rap music and like what gets promoted, it's obvious that this is what's going on. Now, within that, you have a complete idolization of money and material, right? Like in rap music, entirely focused on the material world, which is exactly what the system wants. Like the system that is controlling and oppressing all of humanity is good. Like if you come up with some kind of niche ideology or form of expression or art, if they can get it centered around materialism and the individual and
not like family units. They don't want any kind of competing unit where people are working together, flexing power against the state system, right? And that's what gets that is why rap music is huge, because it's exactly what the like there was a niche that formed within rap after its infancy in the 80s, where like you have a gangster rap starts and then it gets fucking like pushed from being anti-government into just being like me and materialism. Look, I'm on the farm, right? That's what, and that is the super state that is doing that. That is the control paradigm, right? So it's just ironic. It's ironic that that's the way it is, right? But anyway, Susan Rosenberg is Jewish. She's not black. And same thing with all the people. Pretty much everybody that was associated with the creation of Black Lives Matter isn't black. And then they're Jews, and then they got blacks to like come in on the street level, so they can be like in the boots on the ground to be like the street representation and make it look to the general public like it's black people. It's not black people. It's Jews. And it's been a big problem for anyone that is actually interested in trying to gain some liberty for black people, for themselves, to have a free society. It's been a big issue because when they research it, like, who the fuck are these Black Lives Matter motherfuckers? And they look into it and like, these are a bunch of Jews out of California. I mean, there's nothing. I've seen like black activist articles where they're talking about this. Now they don't take it to the, because they're kind of like brainwashed too, where they're like, we can't, we can't say certain words and stuff like that. I can't think, like, what's really happening is that people are brainwashed into being told exactly what to think and to find a target that's like defined by race or nationality and then attacking it. Like that's how we go to war and shit like that. So humanity is already trained like that, and what they're doing is, because people are trained like that, it's this little voice in their back of their mind, in their subconscious, where it's like they know at their heart that that's how they fucking operate and think, and so they have to have a surface level facade of like, I don't think like that, I don't think like that, I don't think like that. And so these people are like, these black activists are writing the articles and they're going like, who is in charge of Black Lives Matter? And they won't just say what it is, because they won't say Jews. And the reason why is because they don't want to. They say the word Jew, and then what comes next? They snap into their fucking training where it's like, this is a fucking monolithic group, and we need to go fucking murder all these people, because they're bad, right? You get what I'm saying? It's like the same. It's fucking perfect fucking control paradigm, right? It's perfect how it works. Fucking genius, really. But anyway, Rosenberg's Jewish, Black Lives Matter is Jewish, it's all Jewish, it's just fake, right? There's no black people getting together and doing fucking riots and shit. Just like there's no fucking white people doing it. We suck. The humanity sucks right now, And you don't even, the really shitty thing about it is that when people get frustrated, they'll jump into riots. They'll jump into attacking each other. They won't fucking grease a fucking elbow to just fucking take care of themselves and their families. Like, just take care. If you motherfuckers would just take care of yourself and your family and take the shit that you need, like, you know what you need. Like, what do you do in the morning? Just fucking carry out a piece of paper and go, what do I do in the day? Well, you gotta fucking take a dump probably when you wake up, and you're gonna want to get thirsty, so you're gonna want a glass of fucking water, and you're probably gonna want to cook some food. Well, if you're gonna cook some food, you're gonna need some heat, right? So you either got, most people have electric now. You used to have propane, you used to have gas fuel, right? You're gonna want to do that. Then you're gonna want to fucking like jump in your car and go drive somewhere. Ideally, you wouldn't work, if you could. If everything was perfect, you wouldn't work. But you have to work, so you gotta go to a job. So you gotta hop in a car, right? Well, you're gonna need somebody to make the fucking car, and then you're gonna need gas and all that shit. What you need to do to fucking tie your bootstraps down is you need to literally, no shit, do some fucking work and start to do whatever you can to take each of those things that you're doing and provide it for yourself, so you're not going through somebody else. Because everything that's provided to you is inadvertently and unknowingly supporting and building up world government. They're all fucking tied in. Everything is tied in. If they're not tied in through regulatory control and being complacent and compliant to it, like propagating it by saying like, we have our little fucking merit badge on our fucking window that we comply with all the fucking regulations. If they're not, And then they turn to their neighbor who's competing against them in some kind of business or something, and they're like, fuck them. They're not doing it, they're not going with the fucking program like we went with the program. Fuck them. They need to go, and then they fucking rat on them. What you guys need to be doing is like encouraging black market business with no taxes. Legitimate. I'm not talking about like selling fucking crack cocaine. I'm talking about fucking whatever you do. If you're a farmer, if you're like if you're engaged in any kind of transaction at all, you guys need to be encouraging independent business among Americans. Where Americans and cities, you dumbass fucking municipalities, you need to fucking get rid of fucking taxes and let people have businesses that aren't fucking tied down by world government. So people can be fucking free. We're already stuck. We're stuck using the fucking money. Nobody wants to get rid of the money because you're all retards. But if we're gonna use the fucking money, then at least try to make it somewhat freer, and don't fucking rat on American citizens. Fucking be a good person. Everybody's struggling right now. Everybody's just trying to like fucking manage their way through this jungle gym of fucking world government hula hoops that we've set up, which is stupid as fuck. Because you think about it, it's like we go all wake up tomorrow if we were on the same page. We just tell them, hey, we want you to fuck off and all that stuff, and they wouldn't be able to do anything about it. They'd have to fucking be like, okay, The only reason they can propagate the control measures that they can is because you fucking idiots are so meek and tame that you're like, you're either like, okay, yeah, stick that bowling pin right up my ass sideways, I'll take it, I guess. Or you get to and you like mumble to yourself, you're like, oh, you grieve about it for a little bit to yourself until it gets to the point where you look around and you're like, are other people going to go off the chain? Like, can we go off the chain now? Is it okay? And then you're all looking for it. And then you know who fucking tells you when you can go off the chain? World government tells you. They tell you, and then they tell you whoever's fighting them, whoever's like gonna go up against them and fucking free you. They tell you that it's them, and then you go fucking sick yourself like a dog on their ass. It's so stupid. Like your only prerogative is to take care. Like there's nothing wrong with just taking care of yourself and your family and expecting the same thing for the rest of humanity, right? We're all stuck here. Nobody chose to be born, right? So fucking have some fucking respect for humanity. Have some respect and some understanding of people. Understand that everybody's struggling through this entire situation. And we're just by listening to the people that we're listening to, we're making it worse every single day. That's what I mean. What I'm talking about here is when I describe radical change in the United States. This is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you stop listening to the people that you're listening to. Stop listening to them and tell other people to stop listening to them. Tell them that they're wrong. Tell them that they're immoral. Because they are. They're immoral and they're destroying your country. Your country is like, you're on your fucking last breath. You're on fumes. And the damage has already been done. If you continue on the same track, like you're going to go straight down the toilet. It's unrecoverable unless you make dramatic societal changes right now, which is independence and people taking care of themselves. But if you have regulatory control where it's like you live in a city and you can't collect rainwater, so then there you go right there. You can't you wake up in the morning and you need to take a dump. Well, you can't because you don't have any fucking water, right? I mean, you do from the control paradigm. You don't have fucking your own water because they won't let you, right? Well, why won't they let you? Because you're going to have some landlord tenants that's going to say no, right? You guys need to understand that, like, if you don't do anything about this and you don't make radical societal change, people are going to die. It's going to result in a bunch of death. Well, when people start dying and shit, you're going to look at the situation and be like, well, I guess things are kind of extreme. Well, it's not that extreme for people to collect their fucking rainwater. Just fucking let them do it. It's what it's here for. God's probably pissed off at you because you're a fucking idiot and faggot telling people not to fucking collect his water that he's dropping down on everybody. And you think you own water? Maybe you'll get hit by a bus tomorrow. Hopefully, if God has a sense of humor. Now, I'm going to go get a charger because his phone's about to die. I apologize. I'll be right back. I got 5% on the bat. All right, we're back. I'm throwing in the charger so the phone doesn't die. You guys don't want to be on here when the stream dies, or when the battery dies while the stream's on. It just goes into perpetual live streaming with a blank screen, and you can't turn it off. Even if I sign back in, I have to make a new stream to kill it. It won't let me cancel it. It's very important not to let that happen. You know, I gotta keep my reputation up. So, okay, so we were talking about water, right? Now, here's the thing about, but before that, the way that I got to water is what I'm saying is that society has a very, society likes to be tough because, we have a long history. I'm talking about humans in general. Not necessarily the United States, but especially the United States is like humanity concentrate. The fucking people are really bad about sitting around and not fixing the shit when they have the chance, and then waiting until the control paradigm tells them that it's time to kill each other, and then just going doing that. Well, you know what that makes you? It makes you a bad person. It makes you evil, right? Because you shouldn't. What you should do is when it's time to kill people, you're gonna be super fucking motivated, because if you don't, there's gonna be people dying and shit. It's high stakes, right? You should recognize that ahead of time before it gets there, and you should be able to harness the same motivation in order to use it for good before you have to go to the fucking murder, right? That's what a good person does, right? They fucking have foresight, and they fucking put effort into shit that's like when you're talking about the aspect of nonviolence, that's the aspect, right? It's like Sun Tzu, right? Now, that's like a moral thing, right? Like if you can conceive in your head, and if you accept in the future shit's gonna be fucked up, well, then it's like, if you can conceive that, then there's a certain moral obligation, unless you just don't have a moral standard of I'm okay with let's everybody kill each other, right? Which I guess you could see that, but I'd recommend not, right? Like, we're gonna have standards here. Let's be good, right? All right. Now, so with that, with water and shit like that, the fucking, society. So when you live in a municipality, and your municipality has a water district, and you're getting water, right? It's coming from somewhere else, right? It's probably coming from a body of water. You're probably getting it from a reservoir or dam, or even like a river runoff, right? That's being captured, and then they're redirecting it. Well, where does the river or the reservoir or whatever, where they get the water? They're getting it from the fucking rain. That's where they're getting it, right? Or if you're getting it from a fucking water table, underground, then the fucking water table is getting it from the rain. So you should get your fucking water from the rain, right? Just do it direct. It makes absolute sense. Now, they don't want you to do that. They don't want you to do that because then there's no paycheck to give the people that have to fucking repair the water all the time, right? There's no paycheck to give the fucking city council, so they can fucking tell you what to do. There's no fucking paycheck to the governor to fucking, tell you what to do with your water, right? You see what I'm saying? It's a fucking control paradigm. The reason they're putting fluoride in your water, there's no efficacy to the effectiveness of fluoride. It's total fucking voodoo smoke science. It's non-existent. The reason that you're using fluoride is because fluoride is a fucking byproduct industrial runoff of aluminum processing in the process of extrusion and shit like that, and in the forging of aluminum. They're getting a product that then gets altered to become fluoride, and they're putting fluoride in your water and then telling you that it's good for your teeth. It's not good for your teeth. Go read the fucking background reports on what they cite as the reason to prove the efficacy of why it should be done. It's all fake. It's not. It's completely inconclusive, totally inconclusive, not valid at all, not fucking valid enough to be sticking everybody's water as a standard, right? They're doing it because they're getting aluminum waste that they can't fucking do anything. They can't go dump it because people get pissed off. So they got the smart idea. They're like, will this kill people if they eat it? And they're like, I don't know, let's see. And they're like, nope, it doesn't. And they're like, okay, put that shit, send that shit everywhere. And now they're selling it to your municipalities, through a middleman. So you see what I'm saying? Like, this is how shit works. It's all the only way they can get you dumbasses to drink fucking fluoride aluminum water runoff is because you're just sitting there listening to everything that everybody's saying, not taking care of yourself, not taking care of your family. I mean, I'm not, if you're doing that, if you are taking care of your family and shit, then I'm not talking to you, right? I'm talking, this is more of like a state of mind, right? Like, I'm talking about just like a catharsis or realization, right? I'm not accusing listeners of like not taking care of their shit. I'm just saying colloquially, in a general sense, right? Obviously, the United States is not taking care of ourselves because we're about to get our shit pushed in. We're getting fucked around with a lot right now, and people do not know what's going on. They are fucking dumb, right? And they're getting used and abused in order for the purpose for them to turn against each other and to be the tool, to be the evil weapon. Don't be the evil weapon. When you don't take from the hand, and when you stop listening, and you help your neighbor to do it, you're all gonna get independent. You know what happens when you get independence? Then you're fucking America. Then you're America, right? When you fucking eat from the evil hand, and then make your entire life about money and chasing money, it destroys your family. It destroys yourself, like your soul. It destroys your future generations because they're going to get brought up the same way. It destroys your society and your town and your neighbor. It destroys your country. It destroys your state. It destroys your culture. You don't have any culture. You know what your culture is in the United States? It's the only commonality that you have is money. That's it. That's it. That's all there is, right? If you have another commonality, it's a microcosm of some cultural artifact that's left over in a pocket that they forgot to fuck with hard enough. And you just so happen to be okay. Or you live in a community of people that are like you, and you have your own things that are still going on because your city hasn't been bribed into like stomping it out yet, right? But it's coming. Just give it some time. You're a couple decades behind. Like, it's coming. Like, if you live in a culturally rich old community or something like that, I mean, it's coming. So, you know, the way that you are free is by not accepting help. That's it. And that's what the United States is all about. That's why your Independence Day is called Independence Day. That's why you have a Declaration of Independence. You're declaring to the king that you're fucking independent. You don't need a shit. Well, the United States is about the biggest pussies ever right now because coming from that document, they've fucking 360'd multiple times and now they've 180'd again, and now they're the opposite facing of how they began, to where we're entirely dependent to the point that it's pathetic and it's very sad. It's very sad. And it's very sickening to watch. Yeah, boats and hoes. That's what everybody's after. I mean, if it doesn't, if the modern state of society doesn't demonstrate to you the pitfalls of the technology of money, I just don't know what to tell you. You know, I mean, people are in such bad shape. Like, yeah, you have fucking shiny plastic cars and fucking lights everywhere, and all your shit gets recorded, and you don't have any rights and shit like that, and everything's a flashy, blinky light. Like, I get that, and all your food is basically like processed fucking meat oatmeal that is mixed with a bunch of other shit that's not even like. People are like, I love meat, I hate vegetarians, and they like eating McDonald's and shit. Like, you're eating dog food, man. You're eating fucking like processed, grinded stuff that's not even meat. There's fucking all kinds of other products that they're putting in there. You know why they're doing it? Because you're so dumb you keep eating it. So they're just going to keep on doing it until eventually you're eating like a tofu fucking roach sandwich or something. Or whatever the fuck is the cheapest fucking thing that they can sell you. Because the cheaper that they make it, the more energy they're going to steal from you through your money, because you keep fucking giving them fucking credit cards. See what I'm saying? Anyway, that's my little psycho rant on fucking Susan Rosenberg. The point is that Black Lives Matter is 100% fake. People that really look into it, that are way into Black Lives Matter, figure this shit out and they get upset. Well, it's because it's they're using the blacks as golem. That's what's going on. And it's fucked up. It's super fucked up. People should be fucking independent in the United States. And you guys, and you should want, you know, if you have like a black community, like a city full of black people, if they want to be fucking independent, let them be fucking independent. You know, that's what the United States is all about. Be independent. Now, they won't let them do that now, right? I can guarantee you that Chicago doesn't have a bunch of fucking black people running it. I don't even know. I don't even know who's there. But I promise you I promise you once you get up to the level of the money in, money out for the city of Chicago, I promise you it's not fucking black people. But they should if they want. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, that's the whole thing, right? Like somebody could watch this video and they think that like Dugan fucking doesn't like black people or something. I like black people so much. I think give them like if you're in a fucking city because they're Americans, right? It's because they're Americans first. Like you gotta have a standard here, right? If we're gonna have a country and call it America and have the laws and standards that we have, which we don't follow anyways, so it doesn't fucking matter. It's pretty much every man for himself now, guided by money. Like money decides, and it's every man for himself. And then people are like slowly figuring that shit out that you're basically all a bunch of slaves to money. And it's the only thing that matters. And your babies don't matter, your fucking future doesn't matter, your next generation doesn't matter, your last generation, your old people, it doesn't matter. Throw those motherfuckers away. Go throw them in a fucking unair conditioned, long-term care facility. Like, don't take care of your family, don't be married, fucking probably have one kid. Probably later, just have two kids just for replacement. And that's it. Unless they need to downsize, then it's only one. Right? It's just you're being guided by money. And the only way that you can be guided by money is to accept it. Because you don't need any of this shit, right? We got 3,000 miles coast to coast. We could provide everything that we need for the entire country. And we have everything here to have absolute abundance for all people. The only way that you can't is because you idiots keep taking jobs in cities and letting them make some kind of little fucking Emperor Palpatine throne in each city where they cover everything with fucking concrete and make everything retarded and centralize all of the shit that you need just so that they can provide it to you so that when you don't do what they say, they can cut it off. That's it. If you had independence and had everything and they didn't have the ability to cut off, they can't tell you what to do. They can't tell you what to do. The first thing they cut off is money, right? Well, other than law, right? Like if you violate law, then they cut you off that way. But if it's not that way, that's why what happens now, you talk out of line, you get a line, you get fucking fired, right? They go after your job. And they're like, why are they going after your job? Because it's the money, right? So if your money gets gone, well, now it's like you can't fucking pay the water bill, right? Now it's like you can't pay your gas bill. You can't pay your electric bill, right? And you start losing, they're taking away the shit that you need using the fucking consolidated energy source that is money that they control. And then they also control the 100% the supply lines of all the shit that is in business necessarily because the business operates on money, right? And the business doesn't own anything. Everything is just intermixed globally so that they have no, like if a business didn't go along with it and was really independent and caused enough problems, they could just eliminate the supply of whatever the business relies on for supply, like the stock, material, or whatever. It doesn't matter. This thing is like universal and in a giant circle. The only way that you can stop it is to be independent so that you can not have to do what somebody tells you arbitrarily, even if you don't agree with it. Like that, the entire process, the entire problem with the United States right now is that all of your dickless government, which they should all fucking be executed, basically. They're all, if you're gonna have standards of treason, line the fuckers up and get them the fuck out of here. I'm kidding, you shouldn't shoot them, but you should not listen to them and you should get them out of office, because they're all, as far as I know, you correct me if I'm wrong, but there are no government officials out right now blowing the alarm about shit being wrong, right? Like they're pretty much all going with the control paradigm, talking about China and shit. Talking about Black Lives Matter and China and shit. It's all fake ass paradigm shit. That's the only thing they care about. Nobody's up there in government. Nobody's up there in government going like, you guys are in big fucking trouble. That's what they should be saying. And they're gonna be caught with their pants down when shit drops. And they're up there and they didn't even fucking see it coming because they're not paid to see it coming. But they shouldn't be operating on it. They should be operating to serve your interests if they're operating in good faith. Right? So you should be able to be independent in the things that you require to live. And then your neighbor should have the same things so that they don't have to like rat on you or what. You shouldn't have police coming to like bust you because you're independent, right? Like how fucked up is that? Like if you start collecting rainwater right now, let's take this example. If you started collecting rainwater right now because your fucking God made it for you and is dropping it down and you can collect it and then you can take care of your family, it doesn't cost you any money, right? Now you're independent of that. And then somebody's like, well, there's an ordinance where you can't collect the water. And you're like, well, go fuck yourself. Well, what's going to happen? Like eventually, if you keep on pushing it, you're going to have cops come to your house. They're going to fucking enforce this shit, right? Right? Now, like that's going to happen. You're going to go to court. Now, think about how fucked up it is that there are people in the United States that take paychecks, whether it be the judge or the cops or whoever that's going to order you to go be in court. Think about how fucked up things have to be in the United States to where you can't get the rain that fucking God made and somebody thinks that they own it and like you have to like fucking kneel down to them to like accept that you can't even though you can just go outside and fucking like catch the fucking rainwater in your mouth. Like you're not allowed to fucking do that in a container because it's like they're gonna fucking spend energy. They're gonna go to Starbucks and get their croissant and their fucking coffee in the morning so they can get enough energy to come over there and fucking burn calories to fucking threaten you and shit. You have to go to court. How fucked up is that the government of the United States will go that far to stop you from being independent, even though you have a Declaration of Independence? Just think about the stupidity and how pathetic that is. It's pathetic, right? It's disgusting. Right? Now, in terms of it's the only way to win. In terms of this control paradigm, what I'm talking about is the only way to win, and you can't do it with you're not going to be able to do it while listening. If you keep listening to people that are telling you what to think, you're not going to be doing it. You shouldn't even listen to what I say. What you should be doing is listening to what I say and reflecting on it internally, like what it means to you and how analyzing if it's valid or not. And you're going to come to the conclusion that there's no fucking way around it. It's good for you and your family to have your own water. Like we're just using water as the example because it's easy and simple. Like everybody knows, water in my hand, woo, water. Like everybody knows what the fuck water is, right? You wash your ass with it, you drink it, you need it. If you don't drink it, you're gonna have a bad day, right? Like everybody knows what water is. You guys, like you can't come up with a scenario where you're like, first I get my own water independent, and then that's where they fuck me, right? Like no, if you get your own water and you're independent and you have, that's a resource that you are given freely that you could be harnessing and stockpiling that you're not because of the control paradigm. And it's the first step. It's the most basic element of what should be done. You get what I'm saying? And it's overwhelming. Now, we're talking about 1,000 years of progress that has led us to this point, like technologically and culturally and shit, and societally. So it's not, I mean, this is going to be an extremely painful thing. Regardless of how you slice the onion, it's going to be fucking painful. It's going to be fucking painful, right? Like, we have a long ways to go the opposite direction. Water is just an easy place to start because it's simple. It's like a goal. Now, it's not simple. You're probably going to have a hard time setting it up. You have to figure all this shit out. But that's why I'm using an example, because it's like a basic, immediate need resource that everybody can get freely. All you have to do is figure out how to collect it and use it. There's no rules. There's no rule book. Think about how much your water bill is. Yeah, I think a little more will happen too. So yeah, in terms of food supply, everything is fucking. I mean, it's wacko town out there, guys. Like, you go to a grocery store, you're gonna be fucking buying shit that's got its fucking salt, got shipped over from one continent, and it's fucking sugar from another continent, and it got like mixed together in China and shipped over here. The reason that they're doing that has nothing to do with efficiency. That's a lie. It's so that nobody has control over it, except the people that run this fucking planet. That's what it's for. So they can tell the sugar to stop or the salt to stop. And then that product can't be made. If they have to. Now they don't have to right now because you guys are going with the flow. If they want some shit to change, they can apply some pressure anywhere they want, and you guys are fucked. You're fucked. You're at the meaning that you're at the mercy of it, and if you don't have a backup, then you're not gonna have anything. And if we're talking about like water or food, well, you need that, or else you're not gonna last very long. So that makes it pretty simple, right? Because now it's like, okay, we want you to do something, you don't do it, we're gonna do this, and if it's something that you need and you're gonna die if you don't do it or suffer, well then you're gonna be pretty motivated to do whatever the fuck they said in the first place, right? But they don't even have to come out and say it like that. They can just like it's already known in the back of your head that it's like this, even if you don't accept it. That's why people are super fucking brave, like tough guys in the military and police and shit. They're super fucking brave to take on something that's like, controllable and already at the mercy of the system, like an individual, and target them. When it comes to like actually fighting evil and shit, they're like, oh man, I don't know about that. Like, I don't think like those odds are bad, right? That's how it works. It's because they know in the fucking back of their head. They don't even have to analyze it and say, if they sat there and neurotically analyzed it, like what they'd actually be up against, they'd be like, no fucking way it's ever gonna work, right? Like we can't stop it, we can't face it, right? But they don't even need to go that far. They're not even gonna analyze it because they're just gonna know in the back of their head automatically, like, well, that's not a fucking option, right? But that's the whole thing. That's how they get you. Is like they make you think that's not an option. Like you can fucking your society can fucking every society in the world can be independent. It's possible. Everything that we need is already given to us. We're just fucking it all up and totally disorganizing it into a distended pipeline that's controlled at an apex so that we can't fucking enjoy the fruit of our labor. All right, so that was Rosenberg. Other shit that we should talk about. Right? And that's well, I guess I should say for the Rosenberg thing. If you didn't know this, so Rosenberg, she ran the BLA and then she's running Black Lives Matter. The only thing in common between the two, there's multi-decades. We're talking like the 70s for the BLA. BLA did a bunch of it was like a Black Liberation Army in the 80s. They did a bunch of bank robberies and shit. It's the exact same thing as BLM. So like, black people got taken advantage of to go into BLA. Notice it's also got acronyms, right? You should start looking at acronyms. Acronyms are a huge thing because acronyms are symbols, right? So like when you see the word ATF, BLA, you see it in like, it's a compound symbol. You see ATF, the acronym, and that has a very specific connotation, and then it stands for something, Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms. If you saw that written out in the emblems and shit, it means it's the same thing, and you know it's the same thing, but it has a different flavor in the mental image of how you see it, right? Like this is what all this shit is, how it works. There are mental images that contain power in a non-physical way that you recognize and that then affect you in physicality, right? That's how this stuff works. So like BLA, ATF, right? It's the same thing in terms of like an acronym, right? Now, they're very different in terms of what they are and how they tie in with money and society and like what they are as an identity. I'm not talking about a relationship here. What I'm saying is that just the fact that things use acronyms should make you suspicious, right? Now, I'm not talking about technology, like if you're talking about like, some long ass scientific name and you just give it an acronym. I'm not saying the nature of acronym, like using an acronym as a mental tool. I'm not saying that. I'm saying, or as a communicative tool. I'm talking about the institutional introduction of acronyms out the fucking wazoo. Like all your alphabet agencies, why you have like BLM and fucking BLA, like it's significant. it's a point that should be noticed that, you know, like even though the 1970s were long before BLM, the fucking things that were happening were pretty much exactly the same. Like where BLA was like the radical. It was like they almost went too far in that direction, and they got a bunch of fucking Black Panthers, Black nationalists and shit to go and do a militia that's controlled by, you know, fucking Rosenberg, basically. And they're like hardcore Black nationalists, and they're like going on Brinks robberies and shit, shooting cops in the 70s, right? Doing bombings, weather underground bombings with the 13th of May organization, or whatever the fuck it's called. The fucking China, which is Chinese commies, right? That's it's the name of it's the date of Mao's revolution, whatever that was. I guess the 13th May organization, if I remember right. Now the fucking that's also significant because Jews are heavily involved with the communist revolution in the 20s. You know, which we're not gonna go deep into because we'd be fucking spending an hour on it. Same thing with it's the same thing as Russia. It's the same. Communism is fake. Communism doesn't even exist. If you're new here. If you're a new dummy and just wandering this channel, communism is fake. It's always been fake. It's just the banks. It's all fake. Same thing with BLA and BLM, it's fake. You know, the only thing that's real are the people that participate in it, that gets ensnared by it. They're fowlers. They ensnare people. Right? Now, that, you know, the fact that this bitch is doing the same shit since the 70s, doing it again now, and that Black people haven't even figured it out yet. Now, I should say this. Did you guys see the Nick Cannon shit? So Nick Cannon, I don't know who this guy is. I think he's from like Nickelodeon or something, right? Like they brought him up at Nickelodeon as like a good boy. And then he kind of like went off the reservation in terms of being like a black. I think he was rap, right? He's like a black rap artist. Nick Cannon, you guys know what I'm talking about? Nick Cannon started going off on the Jews. Yeah, he's from Nickelodeon, right? Oh, he's a producer, like a music producer for rap music. Is that what it is? Do you go into music production? Oh, he's Mariah Carey's man. Yeah, he went off on Jews. I mean, he went off on white people too, right? And that's his like BLM programming shit, right? Like societal programming, like red herrings. He went off on the Jews, right? But then he had to make an apology in order to keep his job, or to keep his whatever, his access to the network of finance and production that he's relying on, because he's taking the hand just like everybody else. Right, which is an interesting thing. We talked in a prior episode, prior live stream, we were talking about, like, we talked about the Norm Macdonald skit, where it's like Marlon Brando talks about the Jews, and then he has to like go and make an apology, and how it was like a skit, and it was a funny skit. Then we talked about the tan white guy from New York, the New York City Council member, who talks about the Rothschilds, and the Rothschilds will say like one tweet, and he has to like within 3 days make a public apology and shit, like a formal. And those public apologies are such a joke, man. They're so fucking dry. They're just like, it's like kneeling down and fucking putting a fucking point, one of the points on a crown, like being like, oh, like putting your mouth over it. You know what I mean? It's just so fucking pathetic. Yeah, it's Orwellian. It's a sign. It's a sign. It's like, this is who's the boss. This is who the boss. Do it. But here's the thing, right? Now that can piss everybody off, and this is a recurring thing that I talk about, right? That could piss everybody off, and they go, yeah, there's a lot of injustice, and you know, they probably say two things. They say, number one, they say it's the Jews, and then they say it's injustice, and we need to go like kill them, right? Well, that's. The Jews is not entirely accurate. I mean, it is Jews, but it's not that simple, right? It's not that simple. And I'm not gonna get into that. It's a whole fucking ball of wax. People probably people think that I'm fucking like a Jewish subversive sometimes and shit because and the reason that I won't dump on the Jews like that is because it's not true. It's not true, so I won't say it. I'm not going to tell you that it's like you need to go. You shouldn't hurt anybody. Period. The reason that people go to the place of like we gotta like wipe out the Jews or whatever is because that's how you're trained by the system to operate, right? And when you're going around killing people and shit, you know what you're doing then? You're jeopardizing yourself and you're not taking care of your family. You get what I'm saying? Like you're not securing your future when you're doing that. Now, if somebody's coming to attack you, like if you wake up and you got fucking armed people in your yard or whatever coming for you, that's a totally different story. I'm talking about right now, regular ass, every day of the week, 9 to 5 shit. Like you're spending your time continuing to propagate and expand the system every single time that you make a transaction and don't do trade, every time that you pay taxes, every time that you like keep a receipt. All this shit is perpetuating the system, right? What I'm talking about is that you should be spending the peacetime that you're in now to create independence for yourself and your neighbor any way that you can. Even if the smallest fucking thing matters. It all matters, right? Your actions matter. It's not what you feel in your head that nobody else can see. It's your acts on earth, right? Right? And that's why the whole violence thing is like like if you're doing violence, you can't be doing constructive stuff because you're busy fucking having to not die and having to murder other people, right? You need to take some time before that instead of letting it come to that, because when you come to that, you better rest assured that it was set up that way. Like when it's time, when people are fighting in the United States, when we have fighting that's coming up, to some degree or another. I don't know how wide. It could be full blown, or it could be small, protracted warfare. It's coming, and you're gonna get people are gonna get killed. When it comes to that, the reason that's gonna come to that is because elements in society are gonna be told it's okay. You know? Indirectly. Through the fucking control paradigm and its many fucking orifices, they're gonna fucking say like, hey, go get them, boys, you know? And then people are gonna be fighting, right? Like that's and if you don't understand this principle, then you're just gonna walk right into it, you know. And I'm saying that for everyone. I'm saying that for the fucking people that are BLM or, you know, whoever else, like regular fucking people. When you don't act in peacetime with your brain, identify what's really going on, and then take the steps to become independent, then you're gonna work yourself into a corner where you don't have any choice. You're gonna be fucking. I mean, that's how it always works. That's how shit works, right? So that is the reason. It's not. I'm not saying don't target Jews, or it's not the Jews, like because I'm some kind of Jewish subversive or like a fucking Mossad agent. Okay. What I'm saying is, don't go kill the Jews. Okay. And I'm saying, take care of your fucking shit so you don't have to kill people. The reason that you shouldn't kill Jews isn't because they're Jews. It's because they're people. You shouldn't kill people. Okay? That's why. Right? Shouldn't kill people. The Jews aren't coming up to you guys and making you fucking pay like ridiculous fucking insurance for your medical bills. There's probably some Jews in there that set the shit up to work that way, but the way that it works that way is because your fucking local cops and your fucking dumbass politicians and your neighbor all agreed that was a good idea to get fucked in the ass. And then they were like, yeah, go ahead, set us up like that. That sounds great. I'll take 2. You know? Like, it's not because the Jew is coming over there and sticking a fucking ceiling rafter in your ass. You know? It's because, again, the objects keep getting bigger. They went from bowling pins to like a ceiling rafter. But it's like, that's how it is, right? Like, the Jews aren't coming over there and sticking them in your ass. You guys are sticking them in each other's ass. So therefore, obviously, logically, the problem is that you guys need to stop fucking hurting each other, right? You need to stop listening to Jews. You need to stop listening to Jews and Jews MSM. You stop letting Jews lead you, and you need to fucking take care of yourself. Does that make fucking sense? Do you get what I'm saying now? Yeah, I'm saying violence isn't the answer. Now, there are certain times where, like, you know, like I said, if you wake up and there's some dude pointing a rifle at you, then you got to make a decision. If he's probably going to pull a trigger. Do you want to live or die? That's your decision. I can't tell you what's right though. Maybe you're a fucking Buddhist monk and you're like, I don't believe in violence, I'm gonna die. That's your choice. I'm not telling you you need to kill anybody, right? But I can tell you that what you are here to do is reproduce and to like have a future. That's what you are here to do. For sure, right? We're talking about killing and self-defense and shit like that. That's like I mean, like what if you were a blind man and you didn't have any fucking sight? You know, and you had no ability to defend yourself. Like, I can't tell you that's the right thing for you to defend yourself. That's like a totally individual perceptual thing, right? But I can tell you that the fucking blind guy is supposed to fucking reproduce. Like, he's here and he's alive because he's supposed to have a family and reproduce and have children, right? If you're spending all your time killing and shit, then you're not gonna, you know, number one, it sets you up for the historical narrative of being the bad guy, which then takes everybody else that's on the fucking tit that doesn't have a choice anyway, the people that are more enslaved than you, and all they have to do is go like, look, this guy right here, look how you killed these people. Well, that was bad. Now you all have to go kill him. And then they'll fucking just expend energy into those people so they get new shit, so they can come kill you. You know what I mean? And there's nothing you can do about it because you did it. So it's like you already, even if the reason and the ethic, you know, is a lie of like you were just defending yourself or whatever, it can be turned to where you're the bad guy. And then you get humanity expends energy to come after you. If you're just taking care of yourself, then it's like it's kind of hard to do that. I mean, they can still do it. Right? Like, I'm not saying don't be dangerous. Like, you should be dangerous. Men should be dangerous. That is another thing. Men should be dangerous. All men should be dangerous. You don't have to be a big man. You just have to you just think a little bit, right? To be dangerous. That's it. I'm not saying be a Billy Badass. I'm saying do what you say and say what you mean. Most of the time. I'm still working on that. I may say I'm doing a live stream and then, you know, 2 hours later we could go. Pretty late. But you should be doing, you know, ideally, the prerogative should be to do what you say and say what you mean, right? Not fucking blame other people. Fight naked. Cook bacon naked, right? Dangerous lifestyle. Cooking bacon naked. Okay, so we're gonna move on. That was a lot. We went from Rosenberg into like greater philosophical underpinnings of like that whole thing, right? Of like how people get wrapped up in shit and get used, and you see what I'm saying? Like Rosenberg, like nobody elected, like nobody was like, hey, nobody in Black Liberation Army was like, you know what? I need to liberate black people, have black power, black nationalism. I need a Jew named Susan Rosenberg to lead us, right? Nobody said that. It's because the power of energy of money is unacknowledged in society, because it's very scary to acknowledge, because when you acknowledge it, you're like, holy shit, this is like a fucking energy force that we're not accounting for. That is the biggest one and most influential out there, and is at the center of everything, and it just went totally over our heads because I guess we're retards. And then you have to come to the realization that we're all retarded. And that puts you in a vulnerable place. It's not easy to go like, no, we all just need as much money as we can. Let's fight for it, you know? Well, that's how you guys get fucking used. All right, Dark wants to make an announcement here. What is the announcement, Dark? I don't know about the glowies vanning people. I don't even know if that's real. That could be a psyop. That could just be like something that they want people to see or think. Who knows? Maybe they're prepping you guys to get ready to kill each other. It seems a little early. But I've been wrong before, so who knows? I have no idea what that is. Dark says that Josh and Dark are making a COC 2.0. I don't even know what the Oh, okay. They're using an acronym for the. They're making a. They're making a cock. They're making a new cock for Discord. Now I should say this. I will say this, right? I'm gonna say this because I just made an announcement in the stream. I got to do it, right? Here's what. Okay, it's compendium of companionship. Now I will say this: Dark and Josh and Abdullah and all those guys have been straight up, right? They've been straight up. They haven't been doing anything fishy, right? They seem like real good dudes. I don't know any of you motherfuckers on here, okay? So, like, whatever, whatever goes on outside of me streaming is like not me, okay? So I may be in the cock on Discord, like talking and shit like that, but like, now I'm not suggesting it's something that I'm not, right? I'm just saying that is not me. Like, I barely fucking use Discord before I started, streaming this shit, right? So just know that. I don't know you fucking people. Absolutely unrelated to Duke and Ashley. Yeah. Go. They're making a new one. They got a new one going. I'll jump in there sometimes. Somebody said it's a honeypot. It could be a honeypot. Who knows? Maybe you want to fucking dip your finger in the honeypot and get a taste. Gerald thinks that China will collapse before the war starts. I don't think so. Let me get in that honeypot, Dark. Bloop. Yeah, Discord is a honeypot. That's true. Discord, if you don't know this, when you're going on Discord, hopefully you're not like in some kind of like super secret fucking like militia, whatever. Like got a bunch of government guys in militia and you're like working for the State Department and doing militia and going into Discord or something because they're gonna pull everything off your phone. You didn't know that. Like Discord has like full access to your phone, so they'll pull any fucking thing that they want off of your phone when you go on Discord. If you're really smart, you would set up your phone with a bunch of confusing shit in your media images and shit that like makes them want to write a fake profile on you. Like, this guy loves gay porn. He's obviously into like midget gay porn and whatever else, and he likes fondue dip. A bunch of pictures of fondue on his media folder in his phone. If you're really smart, you use the Matrix, bro. Yeah, honeypot your phone for the honeypot. You got me, Patrick. You got me. All right, so what's other topics? I guess should we talk about Palantir? Let's talk about Palantir. So Palantir just like, I think I don't know if they finished their IPO or what, but they're about to fucking release the IPO if they haven't already. They're about to go public. So Palantir is an old organization that got built off of NQTel, which is just like a stupid name for basically a CIA slush fund going into tech companies. Facebook comes from that. All the shit, all your social media development comes from that. So basically, like, they're taking your tax money, diverting it to make like Facebook and shit, so that you guys use it and they spy on you. You didn't know that. So Palantir is world government. Palantir is world government CIA in its infancy. Like, they're not doing ops, they're doing information collection. And they work with the CIA. They work with like most of your three-letter agencies. Their primary thing, they also work with markets. So their primary thing is pulling data and doing data analysis and network analysis to paint pictures of what's going on without having access to the source of the information, by developing novel tools to analyze information on the internet in aggregate with giant fucking server farms and shit, and with just doing network analysis in smart ass fucking ways to be like a magic 8-ball that they can just shake and get any answer they want. And they've been providing it as a service to the government for fucking 20 years. Or, I lie. Not 20. They've only been around for like 17 years, I think. So it's got to be less than that. But they're pretty old. And they're a bunch of Jews, obviously, right? Which I guess, the government can't even see that. The general public isn't even, like, they just, I can't even, like, we didn't even know, right? So, yeah, your country's pretty much run by Jews because you let it happen. And Palantir, like, Alex Karp is the fucking main dick on that. A bunch of other guys. And they got contracts out the wazoo, and I'm sure they pretty much intermesh with all of your intelligence agencies, and they pretty much like steal data, and it's legal, right? So they're like the primary driving force behind why you don't have a Fourth Amendment, and now they're going into the private sector publicly. And it's basically, it'd be like if the NSA went public and got traded on. That's what it's like. And so this is the future. This is why it's significant, is because this is a transitional period of when you have the actual government, the actual super state, the fucking world government is coming out and making entities in the private sector that are publicly known and accepted, so that all the dumbass cattle that's out here in this world called humanity becomes comfortable with it and just accepts it as just the way that things are, It's just the way that things are. We can't do anything about it. It's too powerful to stop. Right? And so you accept it. And they're gonna fucking transition and swallow your government. They already do it in actuality, right? Like, the reason that the CIA, it's almost two-tiered, right? You had an original government, and your government got subverted after World War II because that was like the final nail in the coffin for them to come out with the executive independent agencies. What the executive, that'd be like ATF, NSA, CIA, NRO, GSA, all that shit, all your intelligence agencies that have crossover jurisdiction with your government functions, and just do it like streamlined and do it without any oversight, right? They have virtually no oversight whatsoever. So what that is a non-elected parallel government. Like, you had your government structure here that your constitution was, they came with the money, and then they made a new one that does all the same things. Then your government, like your actual elected officials, they basically like lose their dicks. So they have no dicks at all. They're dickless. They're impotent. So now their boners are going down, right? And they're slowly going away. These guys have a fucking giant heart on. Your independent exec agencies, they're like fucking like, they're the experts, right? Like, when anything is like, when police are like not doing a crime scene that involves like a tic tac on the ground, they're like, oh shit, we gotta call in the fucking CIA for this shit. We gotta call in the fucking ATF, whatever. And then they're happy to fucking come over and step in and fucking take the motherfucker over. And it's slowly becoming more and more, joint interoperations is what they call it. What that means is that you're getting your fucking government stolen from you like dumbasses. And then that was like the first transition. So that's already complete, pretty much. You're all just, all of our governments are pretty much like dickless, spineless little pansies that, they just kind of like, wear dresses and pretend like they're the government. They don't actually do anything. They can't fucking protect you. They don't serve you. And they just kind of pretend like it and hope that you don't pitchfork them. that was like the first phase. Now you've got like Palantir, which is like the master conglomerate, technologically driven intelligence aspect of that. That kind of like they started. So you had like your government, then the fucking executive independent agencies. Your government kind of died away. Now you got this. Now you got Palantir. They're fucking supra state concentrate in a bottle, starting to fucking take over the executive. So the executive independent agencies, they were like a mid-step for world government. Now they're becoming obsolete, and you're getting the fucking economically driven super state, financial takeover by banks, because the banks are funding all this shit, right? Indirectly. And they're getting streamlined access to develop this shit with your tax money through Congress, because Congress is all bribe, right? Because they're impotent, right? And so they're impotent. Then they're like, we have to fucking appeal to the fucking experts, the subject matter experts. That's like all your any exec agencies and their associated think tanks that they suck dicks of. And then you got like the Palantir, which is just like Constitution, never heard of her, they're coming in and they're just fucking like they're just like they're gonna take the motherfucker over. And this is like the shape of things to come. Palantir is like it's significant because it's like the first public step of this, right? But you're just gonna see more and more. It's just all gonna go away. You're gonna get consolidated world government, and you're gonna wake up one day and they're gonna be your master, and they're gonna be affecting society in ways that you never dreamed would even come true. Like you're basically, if you don't accept the idea of a super state or a world government right now, you're gonna be a fucking confused little child, because you're looking at everything going like, I guess people just want to do shit to destroy themselves. Like, I guess that's the way that society should be. That's progress, Like, you're not adding up things. Nothing's going to make any sense. What's going on is that your society is getting, like, wiped out and taken over by a fucking world government. And that's why you're seeing shit like, private companies and shit, and the government going into doing, like, social engineering operations where they're, like, playing races against each other to make you guys divide, and they're like doing like putting fucking like interracial couples on food and shit. As if that has anything to do with food, like an advertisement and shit. And it's all there just to build a picture in the back of your mind. Its ultimate purpose is to fucking control you in your like future generations. That's all it is. It's not even really dependent on race. It's not centered on race. Race is just the divisor tool that they're using, right? Because you're groups, because they can create. It's a readily identifiable group to people, right? It's like it's fucking Barney style. Like, you can't fuck it up. Like, that's a group. Okay. Now we just use that like algebra, like variables in algebra, to play it against each other to get x equals what we want, right? Like, that's what's going on, right? And if you're not aware of this, then like you're gonna be blind to all this, and you're just gonna think that all this nonsense going on is just totally fucking natural, and like a naturally developed thing that society just wanted. Like, nobody wants this. Nobody wants any of this shit. Everybody's just going from one sore butthole to the next each day, going like, well, I guess we got we got to put up with this now. Well, the trick, and then you're gonna get pushed into killing each other. The trick is, you don't have to have the sore butthole, and you don't have to kill each other. You just get independent, and then all this shit goes away. There's no power. Now, they're not going to accept that. They're pretty much going to, if you do that, they're pretty much going to sick the rest of the world to kill you as much as they can, because they don't want anybody to be independent. You can't rule if everybody's independent. You can't have a world government if it's just some guy sitting there going, I'm world government. Everybody else is like, okay. Like, you have to get all your shit from them. That's the way that world government works. Everything you have needs to come from them. But it's all an illusion, because like I already said, like, your water comes from the fucking air. All the fucking fuel that you use, that can all be produced if you use a little bit of brains, do some fucking synthesis, you'll be able to produce your own fuel. You don't have to go through BP oil. Have a good night, Richard. No. Don't. If you guys are waiting out for the chaos and violence to start, and that's like your plan, like that's how you're gonna get fucking led down the fucking kill chute, proverbially. I mean that, like, you might be violent, you might be able to warlord harder than the other warlords and make it. But what you come out to on the other side is going to be a fucking completely locked down control paradigm that you're going to be forced to operate in. You're not going to fucking flourish in the chaos and shit like that. Like, you need to start, this is what I'm talking about. Like, I don't think that we're going to do it. I don't think we're going to make it. I think we're going to have to go through a phase of, like, world government. But I didn't hear about the decapitated guy. That's not all. I didn't hear about it, so I don't know. What else do you want to talk about? You guys want to talk about anything else? This is my first stream back. I've been working on music and shit like that. I'm thinking that I'll probably do rap for a lot of music. I mean, it'll be a bunch of different shit. I've got like some 80s stuff. I've got some. I'll be using rap composure. Music update. I'm working on it. It's difficult. I don't have a lot of time. I'm doing a lot of shit right now. I'm getting my wood. I gotta get all my wood ready for the winter. I'm cutting a lot of wood. Somebody wants to talk about the CIA? Hollywood and ties to the CIA? Well, it's all so, like, Hollywood. Well, I'd probably have to brush up on it to speak about it intelligently, but you basically get, you get simultaneous invention of images in the late 1800s in both France and the United States. You get like simultaneous divergent like creation of picture, right? In Europe and the United States at the same time, approximately. Like, the people who are doing it don't know each other. Out of that technology, you very quickly get like the first picture show, the first film with silent movies, right? Immediately you start getting fucking like pornography, which is Jews, if you didn't know that, and most of it's in Europe. Obviously, it causes a bunch of problems with the like Christian-based society in Europe. Obviously. Now, the really interesting thing, like one of my favorite things about the film industry is like Hedy Lamarr. So Hedy Lamarr's a Jew, if you know that. So Hedy Lamarr is an actress, like a very pretty lady, and she, she's an actress, and she gets pulled out of. She did like a topless film in Europe and got in a bunch of trouble for it. Got like basically like socially pried for doing topless stuff in Europe in the early film days. So Hedy Lamarr is pretty much like bouncing back and forth between like industry moguls for different things, like people that are producing shit like on large scale for private industry and shit. The most interesting one, she had like munitions, like husbands that did like munitions technology and shit for like war effort in Europe and the United States. Hedy Lamarr is attributed with the creation of like both she's attributed with creation, or at least inspirational technology foundations for encryption, certain aspects of encryption, but also GPS. So the basic, like the principle of GPS, Hedy Lamarr is attributed with. So that's like right away, that's like, and she got moved over to the United States through, I think it's like Meyer Goldwyn picture. Like the lion, rawr, rawr, with the fucking logo. Jews, if you know that. MGM, yeah. So fucking she gets moved to other states, and then that's where like Halo Mar gets famous when she goes to the United States making movies, right? So the fucking like everything is like that in Hollywood, pretty much. Like it's all and it goes everything into, fucking 9/11 and people people doing like pre-programmed 9/11 and shit. I mean, it's fucking crazy. It's just a big fucking psyop. Hollywood like film. Now film doesn't have to be that way, right? It's not like what I'm saying is that film is an independent technology to communicate ideas to people, and that's what it is. It got co-opted very early on in its industrial form because they recognized the power of it by the control paradigm, and they fucking took it over, and now they just shoot. Now it's just so mainline that you pretty much can't see a movie without having an idea that was on MSM reinforced into your head, where they directly talk about it. They used to do it subtly, where they would talk about the broader societal issue of whatever the MSM was talking about, but they wouldn't talk about specific incidents. Now it's like so dumb. They're just, I'm sure that if you're watching TV or movies right now, there's just, you're watching some drama or something like that, and like halfway through there's like a BLM riot, like in the middle of it, probably, or fucking Antifa or something. Like, people need their voices heard. The Dark Knight, I love the fucking Dark Knight shit. That shit was good. The one with the Joker was my favorite. That one was so good. Yeah, you can use any music. I don't care. Use whatever. You can cut up these videos and motion track dicks hanging off my head. I don't care. Go ahead. Use it for whatever. You can make money off it. I don't care. Do whatever you want. Yeah, I saw Sicario. It's okay. I really like from Sicario. I really like what's his name? The DP for Sicario. Roger. Who's the DP on Sicario? Let me look at it. My fucking brain is blanking. It's my favorite DP. Yeah, I use Fruity Loops usually. I'm a longtime Fruity Loops guy. I've checked my PO box a couple times. I haven't been there in a while. I'll go back like next week or something. What's going on in Missouri? I'm fucking catfishing. I got somebody sent me some reels to the PO box, which was fucking rad. That dude, whoever did that, is awesome. He sent me like little miniature reels. I think they're more of like they're like Spincast reels for like I think they're for like a vehicle reel, so you can have one in your vehicle, but they're perfect size for like little people, which is awesome because my kid has been like walking around like pointing it in the air and shit, and he's having a great time. Yeah, Roger Deakins, thank you. Roger Deakins is my favorite DP. He's like a genius DP. He's fucking great. DP is director of photography for film, and they're just like contractors basically that don't get any glory. Like, and they go around and so like if you didn't know this, when you're shooting pictures, everything is about light, So like your light entirely and completely controls the image, and film sets, they're not. I mean, depending on what kind of movie it is, depending on the scene that you're shooting or what you're trying to communicate. You can just have it where you're just rolling a camera outside. A majority of the time, it's not like that. It's like you can't see what's going on, but there's just shit everywhere to control the way that you're showing the picture going on off camera. And Roger Deakins is great because he does like mass picture manipulation where he'll like, he's like super basic about it. He does everything old school. So he'll be grabbing like Muslim cloth and shit like that, like white Muslim cloth, and then he'll just like put it all over the side of a room and like run light behind it, and then it'll like diffuse through it and light certain ways and shit like that. He did No Country for Old Men and shit. Yeah, he did Blade Runner. Yeah, he's a really good DP. Burn After Reading, man, that movie is crazy. Yeah, the Coen brothers movies, they're like psychologically very stimulating. They kind of make you feel like neurotic in a way, like in a, you know what I mean? Like Burn After Reading was like that. What else was like that they did? There's a bunch of stuff that's like that. Yeah, Big Lebowski. Yeah. Yeah, I love that scene. The Burn After Reading is so crazy because everybody in there is just so fucked up. Like, everybody's just worried about their own vices and shit. Like, you got that chick that just wants to do plastic surgery, and then you've got like Brad Pitt's just this like airhead fucking adventurer, and then you've got the George Clooney. George Clooney is a retard, but his role in there is great because it's just so, he's such a yuppie, you know what I mean? He's the perfect yuppie going on like post midlife crisis, going through like figuring out how he's going to be a grandpa if he actually had kids, but he never had kids because he's too much of a yuppie to have a family. You know, and he's just focused on himself, and so he's just like entirely sex oriented, like thinking about sex all the fucking time, and then he like shoots Brad Pitt in the face. It's just such a. I have seen The Machinist, yeah. I haven't seen You Were Never Really Here. Should I see that? Is that worth it? I don't really watch movies that much anymore. Not really worth my time. Yeah, David Lynch shit is crazy. No. My kids don't even know what a TV is or a phone. Thumbnail pickers from Fight Club. All right, we're coming on 2.5 hours here, so let's have one. Any last? No, my kids don't know anything about electricity yet. The no lights turn on, and not to touch wires. Talk about parenting? What the fuck am I gonna tell you about parenting? Good luck in this fucking society. So parenting, okay, Abdullah wants me to give you parenting advice. I'm not, like, you should listen to yourself. You shouldn't listen to me for parenting advice. That's number one. You shouldn't listen to anybody at all. Not me, definitely, but I'll tell you who you definitely shouldn't listen to. You shouldn't listen to the fucking school system or the government. At all. You shouldn't listen to the medical industry at all. Especially when it comes to your kids. Your kid and you're linked to him, that's your fucking future. That is your bloodline and your link into not being like wiped off the planet. Right? Nobody should come between you and your kid, period. And that's why you shouldn't listen to anybody, including me. My opinion, which is my own and it's not gonna be your opinion, is that public school and like the shit that they have, the track that they have kids on nowadays globally in every first world society is simply there to fucking steal your children from you, so they become little brainwashed robots to, be slaves, and to perpetuate world government. It's a very sad situation, and it will leave, like, you've got to think. I mean, since 9/11, we've gone through some pretty significant sociological and technological changes at a rapid, accelerating pace. Even from like when I was a kid, it's just not the same world anymore. And your kids, like the kids now that are coming into the world, are being set up to have everything stolen from them forever, and to have their kids have everything stolen from them. Not only in a physical way, like material. I'm talking about in a spiritual way of like them being able to have the opportunity to just see the world as it is, and to be able to exist, and to like really be here in actuality, and interface with physicality, like with their own hands. You're basically getting your shit, like your future, stolen from you through taking control of your kids, and it's extremely sad and dangerous, because they're doing a really effective job, and people are not suspicious of it, and they're going with the flow. And I think that's probably like the saddest thing, is watching people allow this beast of evil to come in between them and their next generations, and to take as much as it can now without them even putting up a fight. And so, like, I don't think that you can overreact in this sense, in terms of protecting your kid. And in my opinion, which is going to be like radically farther than most people, because I've like actually thought about it for a long time, and I give a fuck. You shouldn't send your kids to school at all. Like, your kids can be smarter if you put yourself in a position where somebody can teach them that is your family, and you can teach them what you want them to know, and build their foundational learning tools to be derived from themselves by teaching the way that you see things, and then encouraging their hunger for it, and developing their sense of reward system, so that they're not getting immediate gratification, like, so that they're able to stick into things for the long haul, so that they have discipline, so they know that sometimes you have to do things that don't give you an immediate reward, and build things up, and like, kids these days, they don't have that. Like, that's going away, and they're being given about a 20 millisecond like reward period, which is like destroying. It's not only destroying and rewiring their brains into being mush, but it's destroying their ability to rationalize and objectively evaluate their existence and reality, like everything that's around them. So they're disarming them. That's what they're doing, right? They're turning your kids into like puppy dogs at the pet store. That's what they're doing. And it's very sad. And so you really can't go far enough in terms of protecting them. You should not send your kids to school, whether or not your school district is going to try to send you to jail or not. Like, you shouldn't send them to school. In my opinion, you shouldn't even fucking list them on taxes. They should be fucking ghosts, in my opinion. And if you like listen to that, you're like, wow, that's really extreme. Dugan, how would I even do that? Well, you just gotta fucking figure it out. Just do it, and then deal with the consequences, because it's the shit that is going on right now. Like, to say like wow, that's really extreme. Like, how do I go without a social security and things like that? I mean, if you're even asking that, then we're like, good luck, Like, the only way that you're gonna be motivated enough to defend your kids that way is if you're like more than willing up front to, because you're motivated from seeing the problems that are going on, realizing how systemic and serious it is. Like, all these teachers and shit that are here right now that are perpetuating the system, they're not going to be around after your country gets dumped. Like, all these world government institutions, the people that are on grant money, that are basically so dumb that they can't tell that they don't even have an opinion. they're just brainwashed idiots that regurgitate whatever the world government narrative is. All these people that are doing this, they're not going to be fucking around when your kid is older, because the government and society is going to go through radical fucking destabilizing changes, and they're going to fucking like wash out, you know? Like they're not going to be here. Your kid's still going to be here. Humanity's still going to be here. So if you want to put them in the system, then they're going to pop out on the other end of that pipeline exactly where world government intends for them to pop out, right? Or you can pull back and pull them out of this fucking obviously destructive cycle that is doing nothing for them and only teaches them to be a slave. Pull them the fuck out of there and let them live a real existence as a child, growing up in the world, getting their fucking hands dirty and learning shit and enjoying their time and being a child, you know? Not like having their head buried in a phone, looking at fucking like interracial Nike commercials and fucking like Michelob Ultra commercials and shit, watching YouTube and going on Facebook and shit. Like kids shouldn't have fucking Facebook accounts. You know how much you're frying your fucking brain of your kid when they're doing a Facebook account? You're basically just teaching your kids to do exactly what society says, which is obviously totally fucked up, because if you haven't noticed it right now, like, I mean, you have a bunch of social engineering operations going on. And they're happy to fucking swallow your kids up with that shit. I don't know what ASD is. I wasn't independent when I grew up. Oh. Treatment for autism? I don't know. I mean, I know that people, especially children and stuff, it's really important. It seems to me, like when I view young people, it's really important for children to interface and connect directly with physicality. Like it's extreme. So you gotta think. I think of it like this: your kid is coming from creation out of fucking nowhere, right? So like they're in the belly, they're in a uterus typically, right? Except for extremely odd scenarios. They're in the uterus, and that's like where they come out, right? In physicality, and then they're like in the world, and they need a period of like direct physical interaction they don't need to know about social shit and things like that until they've developed their foundation of interfacing with physicality. And when I say physicality, I don't mean like your social justice warrior teacher's opinion on what physicality is. I mean like fucking dirt and fucking gravity and fucking worms and shit. Like they need to like interface and get hands-on time with all that stuff for a long time, like until they go to puberty, you know? Like that is the foundation by which they will develop their motivational system to self-motivate and to determine the threshold of like pain and how much energy they're willing to put into something to get something out of it. And it's extremely important that it not be digital and not be in a dimension that is not physical, because their actual existence is in physicality, even though like nowadays we're all completely sucked into phones and shit and our brains are getting melted. You know, it's when a person is developing, if you go straight into that, they're going to skip the entire phase of physicality and they're just going to be like soft ass fucking cattle. They're going to be soft ass fucking, they're going to be fucking, and I'm not talking about like being tough like a man. I mean like their capacity to even choose to be tough like a man is never built. Like they're not going to have the capacity there, because they're just going to be like, you know, they're going to have it in their head where they think about it. They're going to think of themselves that way. They're not going to have the fucking capacity to like, you know, to actualize that ever if they wanted to, you know, in any regard. I'm not saying that they need to be like tough guys or anything. I'm just saying like they, any endeavor that they would pursue, right? Even if they take a job where they're just going to sit in front of a computer for the rest of their life and type 1 million letters a day, like their sense of drive and like their sense of steam that they're pulling off of for their engine is going to be developed as a system through themselves in their infancy while they're interfacing with the world. And so I think in my opinion, it's extremely important to, like, your fucking phones and shit like that, you should That's why they shouldn't even see that shit. Like, there's no reason to, right? Unless you just want to train your kid to be like hypersexualized and have a fucked up value system and be, you know, like a puppy dog of world government, then go ahead and do that. But fuck. Like, you should be running the exact opposite direction of society. And there's no extreme that's too far. The most important thing, which society does the opposite of, is family. Like, family is the most important thing. There's no reason that, like, if you have a grandparent going out, they should be with the family, you know, and your kids should be dealing with the grandparent, getting the communicative hand-downs from prior generations through the family. And families need to stick together and be together. And that's the most important fucking thing. And, like, society wants the exact opposite of that. Society wants you and your wife divided and both working your jobs. You got to be divided. You both need to watch your respective, like, if, you know, they probably want you, like, if you're a man watching Fox News and if you're a woman watching CNN. And they want you to be, like, neutral in your opposition and be like, you know, these, you know, there are extremes out there and we're right in the middle. We're just in Fabian socialism. That's where we're comfortable. And then they want to fucking turn your kid against you and have them go through their natural rebellion phase in a controlled paradigm where they just become even more fucking enslaved than you are. And they don't want you to stick together, and they want you to when you get old, they want you to progressively, earlier and earlier, every generation, send your fucking old people into, like, the care of strangers to where you never see them. And then they want you to have no interface with your family and not stay together, so that you're weak and you don't have any family cohesion and you can't build up anything and have any power. You don't have to do exactly what the fuck they say. And then they're gonna fucking put you in the ground somewhere where it's like a public, you know, cemetery where, you know, people are walking over your grave and shit. I mean, that's like the whole thing. It's just, I don't even want to talk about it because it's depressing. But, you know, I mean, you built a beast here, guys. It's fucking out of control. It's anti-God. It's the opposite of God. It's gonna get fucking eviscerated and his ass handed to it no matter what. But it's gonna be a lot more painful than it had to be, because people won't just face, you know, like, the thing that society is trying to build here with the world government and controlling everything. It's not possible. And they're gonna figure that out eventually. But they don't care if they figure it out, bringing everything else down with it, right? Like that, and that's the game that we're playing. That's how it's going to shake out. People think that they're in control. They're not in control. And that's advice that I can go to any, like, I mean, Abdul, I'm sure that you can see everything that I'm saying would ring true regardless of what people or culture is, right? Like, I'm sure that, Abdullah, you can look at what I'm saying and be like, that's fucking a valuable perspective for even, like, for Iraqis that live in Iraq. You know what I mean? Under whatever government it would be at any time, right? Like, the Iraqi government, it rises and falls and goes through different ownership and leadership and shit. And the society has to get strung along with it, just like everywhere else, just like in the United States. Like, I'm not choosing this fucking batshit Marxist craziness that's going on, right? It's just happening, right? But you can choose how tightly you hold on to a family and how much cohesion you have and power you have as a family unit. And that's the basis of society, right? Any government that gets formed, the entire point of the United States on paper is for independence for people, and any aspect of government that would come out of it, that would exist, that would be legitimate, would be solely for the purpose of serving the public, of serving the people, right? Like, actually serving them as a benefit. And so the people control that, you know? And when it ceases to be a benefit, then it has no use at all, right? Well, we're at the point now where it's the opposite, where it's like the people serve the government to just, you know, feed it like fucking batteries, like the fucking Matrix movie. And, well, the people have no recourse to get rid of it. Like, you don't have any way anymore. We've given away all of our teeth to be able to get rid of it in a public discourse sense because our media and consensus is entirely synthesized and controlled with like a fucking iron grip. And so the only way, you have two ways that you can do it. Either you can just stop taking from it and provide for yourself so they can't at least take away. Then once you get that aspect done, they can always send somebody to just come and kill you, right? But before, it's like they could still send somebody to come and kill you, but they didn't have to because you're taking everything, so you're just being led by the cookie, right? So it's like, it's in your best interest to set it up that way. Independently. Be independent. Serve your family. Keep them close. That's all you got. It's the only thing you got. Everything else is bullshit. Yeah. Yeah. School's it's just fake. It's fake anyway, right? Like, you don't think, people think that they send their kids to school for fucking like reading and arithmetic. Like, you don't think you can teach your kid how to read and do some fucking arithmetic? I mean, come on. Most of the people that go to school these days, they get out, so they're fucking retards, you know? Like, people that are going to school right now, they're getting out of there fucking dumber than ever. Are you kidding me? It's a fucking pathetic level of intelligence that, and the reason why is not because they're unintelligent. The reason why is because from the get-go, they're being like capped off. They're being stopped from becoming intelligent. That's what's going on. It's the opposite of what it seems, right? Or what they claim. Yeah, public fool system. That's exactly right, Buster. You fucking hit it on the head of the nail. Public fool system. That's what they should call it. Yeah, don't give them your fucking DNA. You guys need this COVID shit. I mean, if you can't see what's going on, fuck. It's not in your fucking interest. We had a Spanish flu here, killed millions of people in the United States. The first outbreak in the United States was in Kansas. It was actually like the origin. They believe by analyzing it and comparing it to other viruses that it was so similar to other viruses that they had seen in China. So they believe, I'm talking about like 1914 flu. They believed that it was Chinese in technical origin, but the actual release point of the outbreak was in Kansas in the United States for the world. And it spread all over the world. The reason that's called the Spanish flu back then is because by the time it whipped around the world and got, red hot, we were in World War I, and they didn't want to affect and lose control of the World War I war because it was controlled, and they didn't want to lose control with some kind of unknown variable with public freakout. And so Spain was neutral in World War I. And so the media reported on Spain and casualties from the virus in Spain. Spanish flu was H1N1. It was a variant of H1N1, right? They wanted it to, not freak people out by all the deaths all over, and so they only talked about Spain as kind of the petri dish of like what the news media could talk about in a coordinated sense, right? So they were coordinated back then. They were all on the same page back then. They're fucking believe they're on the same page now. They all fucking follow the same master. And back then, they said it was the Spanish flu. That's why it got that name. Even though it originated in Kansas and it killed people all over the world, it originated there. You know they dealt with it then? They were really big on like fresh air. So they told society like you need to go outside so you're not kept up in rooms and shit, right? Like being in close proximity and not having UV sterilization and shit, UV exposure on stuff. If you're in a room, the sun's not hitting it, and you're getting particulate aerosol transfer between people and shit. And in the Spanish flu, they were like, walk to work, be outside, don't fucking carpool, like walk, driving a car by yourself, whatever, and Like, that's how they went about it. Well, they didn't fucking close down any schools or fucking churches or anything like that during fucking Spanish flu. It killed millions of people. This thing's killed like nobody, basically. And they've got your fucking nuts in a rear. And you're all pussies. Anybody that's going along with this COVID-19 shit, like, you're a fucking pussy. It doesn't matter. Who gives a fuck even if it was the Spanish flu and everybody was dying, who gives a fuck? You're all gonna fucking die anyway. Why don't you just fucking live free? Like, the shit's not gonna go away. They're gonna keep on doing it. They've got you by the ringer, and they're gonna just keep on pushing it. They're not gonna let go. That's why you think that there's another wave of this shit coming out. I mean, I'm not saying that there's not a virus. I'm saying that the question is not, is this virus real or not? The question is why. It's obviously a man-made virus. Why is there a man-made virus? It jumped from dogs to people because it got engineered that way. Why is it a man-made virus? Why did it come from Wuhan? Why did fucking the CDC pull its employees from Wuhan? What are the names of the fucking employees that got pulled from Wuhan 2 months prior to the virus release? All these things are relevant questions that nobody's asking, right? It's because they're locking your shit down. And when you put on a mask and you placate to the rules, which are not the United States government. It's obviously from outside the United States government in terms of who's directing this shit, right? The U.S. government is just like at the mercy of it, and then they're just perpetuating, using like their institutions to fucking perpetuate the world government directives. And when you put on a mask, it's just a sign that, like, I give up and I'm compliant. I'm compliant with this shit. It's not even, like, if you're really fucking concerned about like transferring, viral material between people, then it's like maybe why don't you look at the fact that society is so fucking managed and controlled, people have so little choice in what they do every day that they don't have any choice but to go to the same fucking job and be around the same people and like have no escape at all. There's no availability because everybody's so tight on the wire, living day to day and economically enslaved that they can't even escape from it. They don't even have, like, it's not even an option. So it's like, well, obviously I have to fucking be in close proximity within 2 feet of other people all day long and fucking go to my slave job and all this shit. And so it's like, well, I gotta wear a mask, Instead of being like, we need to wear a mask, maybe you should ask, like, why is our society so fucked up and controlled and everybody's like jumping through their ass to fucking rent everything that they have and own nothing and have no fucking family, like all this shit. I mean, come on, can you guys not see this shit is like in the wrong direction? You guys are like, the world is like run by Satan. I mean, what the fuck is wrong with you people? Obviously, it's a control paradigm lockdown, and they're not going to stop. It's not another wave that's coming out. They're just telling you you better fucking do it. And it's just going to get worse. You guys, you understand that you're probably going to get bubonic and pneumonic plague is what one of the phases will be. In Colorado, they're constantly having, now obviously, bubonic plague is carried in the mammal that is associated between groundhogs, squirrels, rats, shit like that, right? Like the Black Death, bubonic plague, which you got mnemonic, systemic, mnemonic, and bubonic. Bubonic is like the physical body form. Mnemonic is like your aerosol form that affects the lungs and shit, right? It's all transferred by fluid. You've got it in all those mammals, and so they find it in Colorado all the time, but you've had like minor outbreaks of bubonic in Colorado that have killed people in the last decade, that have gotten real fucking covered, like real hushed up and like shut down, right? But you got like dogs that escaped, or I'm sorry, dogs that are walking around around in Colorado getting people sick and shit. And they're right by, what's in Colorado? You have like, you've got fucking Cheyenne is in Colorado. You've got multiple chemical weapons and biological weapons facilities in Colorado. You've got the University of Denver, and or is it University of Colorado? Whatever it is up north in Colorado. They've got fucking like chemical weapons programs and shit that come out of that. You've got like in Pueblo, that's like the U.S. military's chemical weapons storage facility, like where they store like active biological chemical weapons that the United States has that are like secret, that they don't acknowledged exist. They're doing they acknowledge them like 50 years after they make them. You know, like right now they're doing a mustard, the U.S. military has mustard gas ordinance that is like active current mustard gas ordinance, even though there's Geneva Conventions to not do mustard gas. They're in a destruction program right now where they're destroying mustard gas ordinance in Pueblo. No, the Cheyenne facility, that's in fucking Colorado, isn't it? The fucking Nordac or whatever it is. It's the fucking mountain fucking unit. That's in fucking northern Colorado. Am I smoking crack or what? Did I fuck that up? I'm like positive. If that one's not there, then there's like yeah, it's in Colorado Springs, motherfucker. I mean, what the fuck are you talking about? Are you talking about like a city called Cheyenne? I'm not talking about a city. I'm talking about a military facility. I'm just saying. What I'm saying is the fucking, like, you got bubonic. It very much, to me, it looks like they're developing bubonic in Colorado and shit is like escaping. Now, I'm not saying that the military is developing bubonic. I'm saying there's probably like private fucking, like little fucking private black sites where people are just cooking up shit, and it's like, because it's so like low budget and they're doing it on the down low and shit, can't have anybody figure out about it. They have, you know, shitty oversight, and they're getting like dogs escaping shit with carrying bubonic plague and it's infecting people and shit. I don't think it's from gophers. Right? So there's a good chance that you're gonna get bubonic plague that gets released. They just had somebody die of bubonic plague in fucking China. Like, you know what that looks like to me? It looks like somebody in fucking Colorado developed bubonic plague and then took it over to fucking China and like tried to release it, trying to get it to pop off. That's what it looks like to me. And by the way, if you didn't know this, in the period of absolutism, one of the reasons the Jews were getting pogromed so much and shit, like when H1N1 released in Europe and killed half the world population, the Black Death, right? The Jews got pogromed. The reason being is because people were saying that like Jews were like throwing bodies and shit in wells and trying to like propagate viruses, you know, which is considered nowadays. That's like considered. Now, I'm not saying that happened because I don't know, because I wasn't fucking there. What I'm saying is it's kind of fucking ironic that all this shit is going on right now involving Jews, with people getting like, I mean, everything from like Dr. Fauci or whatever the fuck his name is obviously a Jew. And like all the companies that are perpetuating this COVID-19 thing being involved, I mean, there's heavily Jewish, there's Jews in all of this shit. They're running like all these companies, they're fucking running all the executive agencies that are pushing the COVID thing. Like they own the fucking media or mainstream media organizations that are pushing and supporting the narrative to make you think that it's everybody. Everybody thinks this is a big deal. We all need to like fucking toe the line. That's all Jewish companies. Don't you think it's a little ironic that in the period of absolutism, Jews were getting like murdered because the citizens in Europe were suspected them of releasing viruses and shit to fucking destroy the population? So you don't think that you think there's any fucking coincidence there? Somebody wants a box. You want a box proverbially? Yeah, have a good night, Buckshot. Just doing a box on the chat? I'll box you on the chat. I gotta go to bed soon. I'll fucking do a little boxing match here. Alright, what do you got? What do you got? Lay it on me. Let's get into it. Alright, yeah, no, we're good, yeah. Go ahead. Let it rip. What do you got? Yeah, I'm sorry. I apologize. You're gonna have. Yeah, I agree. Okay. All right. I say COVID came from Wuhan lab. I agree with you, sir. I agree with you. I think it did come from Wuhan lab. I think this is what I think. I think the CDC employees worked with Chinese to develop the COVID, and I think it was controlled release at Wuhan lab. The reason I think that is because CDC did a budget cut, under a budget cut, pulled all their employees out of Wuhan province right before the virus went. Right? Yeah, definitely. It's definitely, there's no question that's man-made. Like, that's not a conspiracy or anything. Because COVID had to be altered in order to jump from canine to... All right, what do you want to know about Trump? Or what do you want to argue about? What's your position on Trump that you want me to smash? Like a drunkard with a beer bottle over your head. What does that mean he's controlled? Well, I mean, unless Trump is willing. So here's the deal, right? Trump has serious Rothschild connections. He has serious ones. It's not like he's like, you know, goes to the same yacht club as the Rothschilds or something like that. He's, you know, they own assets. They own his assets, and he put their acquisitions agents into the executive cabinet. Not just anywhere. He put him into the Secretary of Commerce. So that's kind of a big deal. And then you've also got fucking Munchin in there. That's fucking Rothschild boy too. Right? So Trump did all that. Now, beyond that, you have to understand that Rothschilds made Israel. So Rothschilds are the benefactors of Israel. That's their country. It's like a group of people just like making a motherfucking country. And doing all the same mechanics that a regular ass country does. So they have a military, they have fucking like a cabinet, all this shit, right? So like Trump's son-in-law, Kushner, is extremely associated with all of that, right? Like, and Kushner's married to his daughter. So, you know, like, I mean, Kushner is working with the Israeli government to make, you know, to do fucking like giant monetary deals and fucking peace plan. Jared Kushner is making like international peace plans on behalf of Israel as a citizen of the United States between Palestinians and Israelis for like international law, you know, like, so, you know, unless Trump is going to be like, hey, fuck my son-in-law and my daughter, you know, like, I mean, he's on that team. So, I mean, what do you, like, what are we talking, like, what is the possibility, like, is Trump just gonna, like, shank his fucking son-in-law and his daughter and shit and be like, fuck world government? Or is he, you know, I mean, where is the angle of Trump being able to have any kind of angle whatsoever to defend you as an American citizen or have your interests at heart when he can't, when he, you know, he's entirely invested into the thing that is Israel and world government? Like, explain to me how there's even a possibility that he could possibly be independent. Are you saying he's LARPing and he's like gonna shank his own kids someday? He's just gonna like, gotcha, motherfucker! Gotcha! I got you right where I wanted you the whole time. Like, what? What the fuck are we talking about here? Yeah, I mean, they gave him the money. James Holden, the porn star? No, we're not talking about that. Is that who you're talking about, James Holden? Or are you talking about we're talking about the shooter? Yeah, 6 million DHS. No way. My theory on Trump, like the only way that I can rationalize, like, what I observe about Trump and trying to study it and understand what's going on. The only thing that makes any sense is if they have blackmail, like significant blackmail, like blackmail to where there's no fucking question at all that, like as Trump's perspective, he's like, like I don't have any choice. I have to fucking toe the line. It's not possible. Like something, my guess is because of the Epstein connection, that they have blackmail on Trump of like video, probably, I would guess, because it had to be something that's real definite to where, you're like, yeah, we got a video of that. And then I'm guessing is like probably having sex with children is what I'm guessing. Because what would happen, so in terms of logically deducing this, right? If world government has video of Trump having sex with children, then that means that like if they expose that, then Trump would be completely fucked. Not only would Trump be fucked, like Trump's gonna lose 100% of his support base. Trump's not gonna have any business opportunity ever. Trump's going to get fucking lynched, like by the public, or you're gonna kill him. Like he's gonna get executed or die in some way. He's not gonna get away, or he's gonna have to flee the United States. Maybe he can flee the United States and go to Israel. I don't know, but if they had that, it's like he can't exist. Now it doesn't just end with Trump. Now it goes into all of his kids, right? Because Ivanka can't have a fucking future. Donald Trump Jr. can't have a fucking future. Like they're done. They lose everything. Right? So it's like his next generation, and not only that, his grandkids, right? So now you can't have, so they have to change their fucking family name. So now he discredits his fucking, you get what I'm saying? Like, if they have video of Trump fucking children, raping children, then they can't, like, Trump would completely, I mean, he has no choice, right? He has no choice. He has to go with whatever it is, no matter how bad it gets, and his only means of like buffering it is where he can like resist where they allow it to resist. But if they want it done, he would have to do it in that scenario. Now, Trump has connections to Epstein, and Epstein, surprise, is in the business of hooking people up with fucking technically underage people, like girls to have sex with. It's not a stretch that he's probably having like really young children, like people raping children and shit. Like that's probably what the whole fucking thing is, Hey, have a good night. Thank you. And so this is like the only way to rationalize this shit, right? Is to look at, because if you don't do that, then it's like an ideological thing, and then you have to get into the fact, like, if Trump doesn't have blackmail on him, then that means that he's going along with world government because he's like ideologically on board. Because he's not going to be going against him because his fucking entire family is like interlaced with him now, right? Which is all a relatively recent development, like in the past 50 years, right? Like in his lifetime, his family has gotten interlaced with world government. So, like he can't go against them, right? And that means that if he's not blackmailed with a threat, then he has to be ideologically on board to go along with it, right? Like if he's not blackmailed, and if he's not like doing some fucking million D chess, which is not, because his family's involved in it, right? Like deeply involved, like irrevocably involved. To like his whole family would have to be playing a million D chess. They're not. They're fucking having a good time. So like he's not gonna fucking go fucking Glock his kid in the face or something. He's not gonna fucking like order SEAL Team 6 to do a raid on his fucking kid's house, is he? To like remove the deep state. So like, you know what I'm saying? Like, or his kid's bosses. I should say he's not gonna order on. He's not gonna go after his kids' bosses, or his bosses. So he would have to be ideologically on board, which doesn't make much sense because I don't know where you would get a guy out of nowhere to just be like, fuck the United States, like we're gonna trick the fuck out of them and be cruel and fuck their shit up. Like, how do you get that? I mean, I guess it's possible. I don't read Trump like that kind of guy. He could be. It could be. He could just be entirely a shithead that is a bad guy. So my conclusion is that obviously the only logical leftover that would motivate the type of stuff that he's doing is that he's fucking has no fucking choice and he's blackmailed to hell and back. And like, you know, the consequences, like he's blackmailed so hard that if he was blackmailed less hard, if it was just him that was going to be affected, then he could be like, fuck it, I'm going to go down exposing, right? He's blackmailed so hard that like it's just not a like he's basically like, that's not a choice. Like, I can't do it. It's you know. That's it. That's my perspective on Trump. I could be wrong. I'd be wrong. I don't think I'm wrong. I don't think it's like people thinking that shit is on the up and up and everything's like it's. I mean, the MSM is the one that's pushing the narrative of Trump being like an underdog and shit like that and like fighting the system. That's the MSM. Well, they're fucking owned by the Rothschild too. Like Fox News is owned by fucking Rothschild. So, you know, Reuters, Fox News, like all of them, it's all fucking Rothschild. Reuters has a fucking plaque dedicating their founding to the Rothschilds. Yeah, it's got to be blackmail. It's so fucking serious that it would destroy his family name, all of them, past and future, and that his children would be like completely bearing the responsibility for the blackmail. You know, like for multi-generations, like something heinous, right? Something where even if he got killed, even if he got lynched in the streets, it's not gonna put an end to it. Like his family's gonna be shamed forever. That's what it has to be. The only thing I can think of like that is like because of his association with Epstein, who's like running underage kids to get raped by politicians and shit. The only thing I can think is that they have a fucking catalog of fucking video of him raping children for like years. That's the only thing I can think of. You know, multiple. It's probably more than one kid for like multiple years. I mean, most of his shit with Epstein is in the 80s. All right, I'm gonna close it down. Wait, hang on. Okay. When it comes to taking back power from the predatory system, I get you take control of everything you can, but these are just individuals. But doesn't it make sense for states to secede? Is secession a viable option? Okay. I'll deal with this and then I'm gonna wrap it up because I gotta go. But so the whole problem is, so the model, the way that you're looking at it, in my opinion, the problem is that people look at it like everything's good to go and we just have some bad apples in here and we just need to get rid of the bad apples and the tree's fine. The tree is fucking poison, man. Like, I mean, since the Industrial Revolution, this entire system has been set up to be a control paradigm, and the way that it did that was through finance. So the finance came first, and the finance got poured in, and then the society responded to the stimulation of finance by organizing itself to go after the finance, to go after the little fucking cookies that they're handing out. Everything from the Industrial Revolution has been made that way, by people chasing money. You can't, the idea that you could take that system that exists that we've created here, which is below finance, like finance is up here, that's what made it, that's what like stole the country from us, and then we built up a new country under the fucking yoke of finance. The idea that you can take this country that's under the yoke of finance and like take it like a fucking touchdown pass and just run with it all the way, just take it away and just go with it, that is not accurate, because you can't, the stimulation, the energy that created the system the way that it is isn't replicated in nature, and it's not natural. It's like not in humanity, you know. It's so everything has to crash, right? Now what they do in the controlled, if you went that direction, everything would just crash. Now what they do is they control crash it so that you guys squirm, and then they can introduce new, whatever the new direction is, the new control that they want to introduce, and everybody scrambles to get on the life raft, and then everybody doesn't, like, you know, gets blown away basically, you know. And that's how the shit, that's how they do it. So the only trick, like the only way to get out of this is for people to realize that this is the way that it is, and to detach financially. We shouldn't, ultimately there are serious problems with the technology of money in general, no matter what century or anything that you're dealing with, no matter what coin or credit card or fucking blockchain, fucking Bitcoin you're dealing with, it doesn't matter. There's fundamental serious errors with money. Now, the society is not smart enough to realize that this is the crux of everything that has gone wrong, is entirely motivated by money. And if you got rid of it, all those fucking problems would slowly start to go away, and they stay gone as long as you quit using fucking money. People are too dumb to understand that, so they keep using it. It's like they're like, man, we're really sick, we need to drink some poison to get better. Like, you gotta, you know, that's the ultimate only way. Now, we're gonna need some transition period, I guess, because people just aren't ready to accept that. But you can't take the ball and roll with it. You can't take this package that's set up and then redirect it. The reason being why is because it's already set up. It's set up like a nice little bow, a nice little package with a bow on it, ready to be picked up by whoever packs the tools to actually like wield that shit. Well, you know who can wield it? World Finance, because that's who fucking made the motherfucker in the first place. When you guys try to do a little fight in the United States and do a little civil war, and then you want, like, you know, I still want my Netflix, I still want my fucking Hertz rental car, I still want my, you know, this and that and this and that and this and that. That is world government. That is the system. It is a financial system. And you are not going to be able to run with the ball anywhere, and have any kind of control. If you did, they could just crash you because they just pull money. Because they're outside of the United States with world finance, and they're impinging it into the United States, and the United States is taking it, right? They're taking it. And so no matter what currency you come up with, and you call it the dollar or whatever, you're then going to trade internationally, and whoever you trade with is connected to world finance, right? And when you get loans, it's going to come through world finance because they're going to be happy to loan it out, right? This is how it always works. So you can't, it's like trying to fucking keep a boat afloat that has a leak in it. Like, you can't do it. You have to get rid of the fucking money eventually. It's the only way. I mean, without that, you can't ever be free, ever. And any I don't know about adrenochrome. I have no idea. A lot of shit is just like tangential. Like, does it really matter? Is it really that important with the shit that's going on? Like, people can't even rationalize and realize that, like, the way that they're enslaved is by accepting money. I don't think adrenochrome is like that significant, if it even is real. That's like dividing you guys, making you guys divided and fight, and making you guys go on like wild goose chases that, you know, like, it doesn't really matter how far you go if you have a fucking rope tied around you. If you're fucking hooked to a chain, it doesn't really matter where you go in the fucking yard and like which fence you fucking like look through and like try to fucking peek and be like, oh, look at the fucking adrenochrome over there. Like, it doesn't fucking matter if you have a fucking chain attached to you the whole time, right? All this shit is just like little goose chases. Like, even fucking Hillary Clinton pedogate shit. Like, I am not saying that if there are children being trafficked and shit, that is a fucking crime against the God and creation, and should not be happening. And whoever's doing that, if you see somebody trafficking kids, you have my permission to just shoot them on sight. Like, if you 100% know that that's who it is, like, You can go ahead and do that and take your licks with society and go to prison or whatever. You'll get I'll fucking send you a fucking gold star in your mail. But that shit shouldn't happen. But that whole thing with like Pedogate and shit, it's just a fucking distraction. Like Hillary Clinton was never gonna win. She's never supposed to win. Hillary Clinton's 100%. The Clintons are 100% on board with the game. It's all just a show. It's a show to keep you guys fucking running around chasing shit that doesn't matter, so you don't take off your chain. Take off your fucking chain. What can an individual do all by themselves? Stop listening to the people that you're listening to. Stop listening to me. Stop watching YouTube, and fucking get independent. So when they come down, they're like, "Hey, everybody, you got to give us your wives and let us, we're gonna take them over somewhere and fuck them, and we're gonna steal your fucking children and make them brainwashed idiots, take them away from you and send them to some re-education camp or whatever." I don't know what it's gonna get bad. I don't know what it's gonna look like, but just the society, not even the conflict thing. I'm just talking about society going on the same path that's going. Like, you're gonna have a bad shit future coming. You're not gonna have any choice but to accept it, in the aggregate, in the long run. Like, some of you may be able to resist, but you're just gonna fall if your family and your next generation if you don't build tools now to be independent and provide yourself everything, and then hand those down generation to generation. And then when they send people in your society to come tell you that you can't do that for whatever bullshit lie they come up with, that's when you tell them to get fucked. That's when you fucking get rough if you need to. They don't have the right to come and do that. Okay? But you got to get there first. Right now, you're at a place where it's like people are living in cities where they can't even fucking collect rainwater. Right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Whatever's coming in the future is not good. You're definitely going to have population control, like quotas on how many kids you can have or like what kind of kids. The media is already telling you, they're already like socializing and sexualizing your children and your wives. It's done through the media, like through the corporate state and education apparatus and through advertising and shit. Like, they're telling people who to fuck and who they should, this is like satanic shit. This is like evil, pure evil, Like tricking and turning your family's brains into mush. All you have to do is fucking stop listening to them. The way that you do that is by providing your own resources. Provide your own resources. People have been around before computers. People have been around before money. Well then or red dot site. You're worried about a red dot site? I mean, come on. You're still gonna have the technology that you have now. You've already, unless you go through a total reset with like crash and burn everything, 99% of the population dies. Besides that, you're gonna retain all the shit that you already have, the technology. I agree. You need to have black market labor and black market money, because you're not going to get rid of money because people aren't willing to do it. They should, if they were smart, they'd realize that they could do it and they'd do trade. They realize that they could buck and just do trade. They're not going to do that. Everybody's fucking idiots. So, that's not going to happen. So you're going to have money. So the best way to deal with it right now is to make as many black market economies as you possibly fucking can, and stifle anybody that tries to come in there and pull tabs on it and investigate and shit. They need to get the fuck out. They're anti-American. I'm not talking about black market like drugs or something fucked up. I'm talking about shit that society needs, providing for your community, getting tight communities, and building the things that they need, like their food and water and shit like that, and doing it outside the tax system and outside the purview of the federal government. And if your cities have people that aren't into that, then they're pussies anyway, and they're anti-American. You can get the fuck out anyway. Honestly. No, I'm giving the caveat for drugs and shit, because if I said black market economies, and some dickless writer or fucking intelligence analyst that was watching this shit trying to fucking pull dirt on me to get me fucking shot by the cops or something. So they can't look at it and be like, look, he said black market. He's talking about like heroin or fucking like trafficking marijuana or something. That's why I'm putting it out there. You fucking dope heads. Like, fuck. Just fucking relax. Who gives a fuck about your dope? It's fucking like insignificant shit. It doesn't even matter. I'm talking about water. I'm talking about fucking shit that people need. Alright. That's it. I'm gonna wrap it up. You guys have a great night. Love you. Have fun.